Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call to order the ECHO Advisory Committee meeting, Thursday, August 27th, 2026. I'd like to welcome everybody to our grant review meeting, and could I please have the roll call?
Reggie Santilli, Pat Drago, Gerald Feeser,
Present.
Tom Laputka,
Here.
Pat Northey,
Here.
Jay Pendergast,
Here.
Doug Pettit,
Here.
and Leah Washington.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Jill. Okay, now for public participation, Dana McCool, can you please come up?
Good morning, board members. My name is Dana McCool, and I've been a resident of Deltona for 25 years. I'm here to speak to you about D Ranch Preserve, and as a resident of Deltona, as a former elected official, and as a now sitting board member of Volusia Forever, I think that this is an amazing project, and I really want to prevail upon this board. We have heavily invested in Deltona. We are starting to reassemble our Lakeshore project, and we have invested in our trail systems. Thank you, Board Member Northey, for that. We appreciate that. And all of these things factored in, I understand that there were questions about this project, which project members will gladly speak to. So I just wanted to speak with passion, understanding the financial sustainability of this project, understanding the support that Deltona would give to this along with surrounding areas. People want to get back out in nature. We want to quiet down, and I think this is an amazing investment into our future sustainability in Deltona. We have enough area around where we're infilling that it will support the continued financial sustainability of this project. And if you've been there, I think that most of you have been out on that property. It's amazing. The building, we just need to reinvest in that building, and I think that this is an amazing project, and I want to thank you all for bringing this up and all the work that you do. I understand that it's hard in our financially constrained times, but this is an investment into Deltona, into our county, and into our kids. So thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, Dana. Georgia Turner.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Georgia Turner, and I'm the Executive Director of West Volusia Tourism Advertising Authority, and I'm also here in support of D Ranch. When I first met Tracy Dean from Conservation Florida, she gave us a tour out there, and from that minute that I knew that I could see what she was trying to do. She shared the vision for the future, and we immediately recognized its tremendous potential for tourists and for residents. The preserve is especially valuable because it's, one, free and open to the public, two, designed to attract residents, ecotourists, families, schools, and community groups, and three, it's aligned with what Volusia County's goal of connecting people to outdoor recreation and conservation lands. The preserves also can serve as a visitor gateway for the southern portion of West Volusia, similar to the visitor centers that we operate in downtown DeLand and at DeBerry, at the DeBerry Hall Trailhead, in recognition of its importance. And we've already put up some bat wings out there as part of our Wings of the West program that we do, our art program, our mural program. D Ranch is especially deserving of ECHO funding to construct a new public nature center based on the tremendous public interest and visitation at the Lyonia Environmental Center and Preserve. We know that visitors are eager to interact with exhibits highlighting Florida's native ecosystems, wildlife, and conservation efforts. The partnership with Gatorland is also very exciting to us. The planned outdoor amenities, including ADA accessible walkways, wetland overlooks, picnic areas, and possibly camping in the future, will make the preserve an inviting destination for visitors and residents of all ages. So we're real excited about it, and we just wanted to come here this morning and speak on behalf of them. So any questions, I'd be glad to answer them. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Georgia.
Can I ask a question?
Oh, yes, go ahead, Pat.
No,
Come back.
No, you're fine.
Oh, okay.
Just directed to staff. I thought that we, as we went through each of these, I thought as we went through each of these applications that we would take public participation as part of that process. Because I know people that were coming that are not here this morning yet. Wasn't that what we did previously? We didn't take public participation?
Public
Part of the
participation
application?
is at the beginning of the meeting, not prior to the application.
So, did we change that? I thought we used to take public participation on each application.
We take it at the beginning of the meeting, not prior to each application. When the applications come up in front of you, there will be your chance to give comments, questions, or concerns.
But
No
they-
presentations by the applicants,
Not
but
getting a chance to talk because I just saw a gentleman who wants to speak on D-Ranch just walked in the doors.
then he just needs to turn in a public comment card.
Okay, because that's my fault. I thought we were taking public speaking as each application came before us.
If the board wants to make a motion to have public participation with each motion it does, they can do that, if that's the will of the board. I mean, there's no rule against public participation with each one, but if it would be something you could make a motion and then you could vote on it.
Well, I'll put it out there. I'll make a motion that we allow public participation with each application.
I'll second it.
All those in favor, first, any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Just
Okay.
administratively, at which point, once the application's presented, do you want public participation before you're scoring,
I
or?
think so,
I'd
yeah.
like to hear
Yeah,
it before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go. Just the chair would have to go ahead and recognize that.
okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, we're going to move on to approval of August 13th minutes.
Did you have a second, did you have a person, are they gonna come at the, did we have someone who just submitted another
Yeah.
public participation?
Commissioner Harriott, do you want to speak now, or do you want to speak at the time of that we hear them?
Whatever the will of the board is.
Well, we just added public participation at the time we hear the agenda item, but you can speak, is that okay with you? Okay.
Okay.
Before we move on, we did receive 3 written comments that each of you were presented in your packet that we put in front of you this morning that were be a part of the record. So
Okay, back to approval of the minutes. Have you all had a chance to read the minutes?
The agenda calls for chairman's election next, after public participation.
the minutes, so we are actually going to move the chair election to the end of the meeting.
Okay.
It was put up front, but we're going to move the chair election to the end.
And I apologize to the board, that's my fault for not getting back to Daniel timely. The election of the chair should have been after the business of the meeting, before staff comments. So I apologize, that is my fault.
Very well. I have a correction to make on the minutes, or an addition on the minutes.
Okay.
Under the Port Orange YMCA comments, the YMCA provides low-income residents a membership that they call a scholarship. And while we were there at the poolside that day, I asked the executive director who was with us, what is the percentage of scholarships that you have in your membership? And she was unable to answer that question. I would like to make sure that gets included in the minutes. It's not there now. My question about access was, but not that question.
Any other corrections or additions? Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes with that addition?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, minutes will be filed with the addition.
All right, good morning, Daniel Marsh, Echo Manager. We're going to go ahead and get started with our grant review panel this morning. So I'm just going to go over some housekeeping and procedural things before we get started. We will review each application individually, just like we did with the tour. So we'll start with the City of Ormond Beach, and we'll move on with, to the end, to the City of DeBary. Staff will present information about each project, and then we will give our recommendation for each project. which our recommendation will be based on eligibility, not on scoring. There will be committee discussion and questions after I give the presentation of the information. You guys will score each application individually using the score sheet. A lot of you have done that prior, so thank you for that. We will do a roll call for each member to verbally give out their score. Please make sure that we have comments for each score that you put down. The highest and lowest scores will be removed from the average. Ashlyn will be putting those into the Excel sheet as we go on. If there's a duplicate high or low score, only one is removed at that time, okay? And then the scores get averaged by the 6, or when we get to Marine Discovery, it'll actually be averaged by 5 because Jay has to recuse himself from that project. You'll sign the sheet, and then committee members will vote to recommend the grant scoring 80 or above to County Council for final approval. If a project does receive lower than an 80, we will still present that project to County Council when the grants go there, the first meeting in October, and that's kind of the process. Any questions before we get started?
The grantee, do they get a chance to address the board again?
They will if you guys have questions. They cannot provide any other, comments or presentation, but if you guys have a question for them directly, every member, each applicant is here to answer those specific questions.
Very good.
And Daniel, if I may jump in for the benefit of the new committee members, after you score each application and you sign it and it's ready to turn in, I will come by and collect that application and start doing some background math on it just to double check, and as you move on to the next applications.
Daniel, I have a general comment I want to make before we get started in the process. The scoring system as it's presented to us is insulting. It was essentially sprung on us with no input, no advance warning, and no opportunity to object. While the scoring matrix is fine for those applicants who meet all requirements or have no overbearing issues, it is an everyone gets a trophy situation with no discretion to allow us to judge an application outside standards presented by the county staff. It makes participation on an advisory board pointless. I resisted grade inflation as a teacher, and I resist it now. There are applications in this grouping that never should have been forwarded by the county staff. 3 of the applications are missing feasibility studies. The matrix assigns only 5 points to a feasibility study and marketing plan category, which is woefully short for the importance these 2 features have for any grant request. Feasibility studies are not something added or considered as an afterthought. It is the first step for any project seeking grant funding. It is disturbing that staff would assign such a low score weight or forward applications without feasibility studies or with studies done so poorly they have no validity. The process today is nothing more than an opportunity for county staff to say that citizens are involved. This is not an assessment. It's a fill-in-the-blanks exercise that ensures the county staff's administrative and bureaucratic process is protected and completely abandons its responsibility to protect the taxpayer's interest. I will voice my concerns about each application as we proceed through this charade.
Any other comments? Okay, we'll move along.
All right, so just wanted to give you the overview of the applications here. So we have 10 applications in front of us this morning. That'll total the request of about $13.1 million. All right, so we'll start with the city of Ormond Beach. This is the sports complex, softball quad, field improvements, $1 million request. This outdoor recreational project will improve the 4 high-use softball fields at the city's approximately 130-acre sports complex. Fields will receive new clay, Bermuda sod, irrigation, and a new pitcher's rubber and bases, along with new shade structures, fencing, netting, and parking lot improvements as funding allows. The recommendation to the advisory committee is as presented. The application and project meet the county council's approved requirements for grant funding.
Any questions for the applicant? Comments? Gerald?
Yes, I did have a question. Were the fields actually going to be raised? I know that there's a big difference between coming onto the outfield to the infield, and flooding has been a major concern. are they going to actually raise the grade there for all the fields so that drainage won't be a problem?
We have representatives from the City of Ormond Beach here to answer that question.
Good afternoon, or good morning. Robert Carolyn, Parks and Recreation Director for the City of Ormond Beach. So essentially, the primary flooding was where the clay was, not necessarily in the outfield as much. So the plan is to bring the clay down to the level that it should be, because over the last 20-plus years, as you put clay on and you rebuild the infield, it actually builds up and builds up and builds up. So it's a little bit different than your question, in the sense that our goal is to make the infield drain to the outfield, which then in return will drain to the swells in the outer fence line of the outfield.
So it will drain then, if you get it off? Because
Absolutely.
you have I agree, you had a dangerous situation coming from shortstop or second base. If they're peeling back to get a ball, they're stepping down 6 to 8 inches.
Yes,
and
sir.
That's not good.
Yes,
The other question that I had, I think we might have mentioned it over there, and I've spent a lot of time at softball. I was very fortunate to go to the Softball World Series this year in North Carolina. And the thing, after seeing a lot of foul tip balls, if there's any place for a ball to get through to the spectators, it's going to do it. And I noticed that you have a gap along your fence there, and someone indicated they really weren't going to raise that. But have you thought about maybe having netting between where the fans sit and the plate so that errant balls won't get through that little gap?
Not in this plan, but we can certainly take a look at that, because I would agree with you. Anything you can do to prevent those balls from getting into those bleachers should be a priority.
And it's low enough to where if it's going through, it's coming through with some velocity. I sit there and studied that while I was there, and it's like, ooh, I don't know about that. So I would just throw that out as a comment. I think it's a great project. I love softball. I think it's one of the most phenomenal sports that girls can play. Yeah. After watching the Boys World Series the other night, I come to the conclusion that softball was invented to keep girls out of baseball, after seeing what the little girl up in Alabama has been doing. So anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I have a question.
Doug? Please, go
So
ahead.
the current drainage that's out there, I know that you addressed the current plan for the field to where it would actually drain into the outfield. However, is that the same methodology that's been used at the other baseball fields that's currently out there?
Yes, ma'am. It's exactly the same methodology that we used at the Nova Community Park. I think it was last year that you guys were gracious enough to help us with a grant for that. And it has shown to work really well.
What is the percentage of difference in closure rates for that field versus the other fields? Because I know that you guys were having a goal to say that you wanted to reduce the impact by 25%, but what is the actual percentage of improvement that you've experienced at that one field, or the fields that were given that grant for the new construction style?
You're referring to the Nova Community Park? Our percentage has actually been probably more than 20%. We feel very confident that it will make a big difference.
Okay. From a resident, from somebody that has actually had children that have played on those fields, actually every single field in that sports complex, I believe, except for one, the drainage is an issue, and those fields are closed so much. They're always closed. It rains, it hiccups rain, and all of a sudden the fields are closed. You spend half of your season checking the app to see if your field is even open, because as a resident and parent, you don't know half of your games are going to be closed. And I do have a substantial concern on the project, and I'll just air it now.
Sure.
My concern is the fact that we're saying that this is the softball fields. It's a softball quad, but it is vastly and majority used by the baseball team. It's not used by softball. We're saying that it's a softball quad improvement. The city asked for softball fields, but it's really just another improvement for the baseball program. And I love the baseball program. They're doing amazing things. They really are. But the city asked for more softball fields to have more accessibility for the softball program, not improvements for the baseball program. So that's where my concern is.
Understood.
Doug, did you have a question?
No, I was going to bring up the drainage issues also, because I participate out there. And I know that there's a lot of drainage issues. Is that a future plan for you all to go in and maybe look at redoing drainage or working the drainage issues out there?
We are currently under project right now where we expanded, and just so I'm clear, where we're referring to the sports complex,
Yeah.
not the Nova Community Center.
Right.
So currently, we've been trying to expand our drainage retention area. I'm trying to remember the name of the project, but essentially what we did is expand the drainage ponds, which you may have saw when you went out and actually reviewed this project. And so we are hopeful that that will make a tremendous difference in the ability to retain that water and get it off the fields.
Pat?
I just want to say I thought it was a good grant. Ormond has a history of following ECHO guidelines, and we did a similar project 2 years ago, was it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, about that. So I have confidence that you're going to get it right, and that it is needed improvement for your community.
Thank you.
I'm going to just make a comment that's kind of general. I want to make it once, and then I'll be done. As I went through each of the applications that were supported by municipalities, we could see the budget. I have no question at any time on budget and the capacity and the auditing, et cetera, when it's a municipality making the application. I did tell Daniel that we're counting on some of the applications count on maintenance and upkeep by existing staff and the match of grants. I have in the back of my mind a concern if Amendment 3 to the Florida Constitution is passed, that every budget could be subject to review. That doesn't mean that any one of these items in the packet is affected. And I want to say that as I looked at city budgets and the commitment to the community as well as to these projects, it's in the back of my mind, and it will not affect any of my voting, but I did want to make that statement because I have a real concern. So that's it. Thank you.
Anyone else? Comments, questions?
Thank you all.
Are you scoring?
Are you calling for the total score, the score by, how do you want to do this for the reporting?
All right, so what we'll do is we're going to start with Jill is going to do a roll call. She's going to start, Reggie's going to start with the first grant, and then she's going to call the names in order going through. You'll announce your score. Ashlyn will put it on the sheet. Okay, you're going to verbally give your score.
Okay.
All right?
Reggie Santilli,
96.
Pat Drago,
96.
Gerald Fieser,
91. 91.
Pat Northey,
92.
Jay Pendergast,
89.
Doug Pettit,
99?
Tom Laputka,
89.
Leah Washington.
79.
All right, so we're going to move on. We'll do all the scores at the end, just so that way if there's any miscalculations, we can put those into the record. But as of now, the average is 92.17. All right, moving on to the City of Holly Hill. This is for Ross Point Heritage Park and the Scenic Observation Pier. The request is $1 million. This outdoor recreational project will construct a pier along the Halifax River, creating public waterfront access at the historic 1868 Ross Homestead site at Palmetto Point in Holly Hill. The project includes a 250-foot accessible pier walkway built with a hybrid flow through decking system, roughly 2,500 square foot, T-head observation platform with covered pavilion and picnic seating, marine-grade aluminum railings, solar-powered lighting, and an interpretive historical pedestal. Staff noted that the timeline review will require additional environmental permitting from FDEP and U.S. Army Corps of Engineers prior to construction. This permitting has historically taken a significant amount of time, which could affect the project's timeline. As presented, the application and project meet the County Council's approved requirements for grant funding.
Thank you. Does a representative for City of Holly Hill want to come forward?
Hello.
Hi. Questions, comments? No questions?
You know, I think that this is so badly needed. I'm familiar with the area. I think I've had picnics there since I was 8 or 9 years old. I am concerned about the long-term maintenance, supervision, policing. I'm also familiar with Sunrise Park. I know it's heavily used. I have the concern, it doesn't really fall within the guidelines of this. So I'm voicing it, but my score is going to be my score. So, thank you.
I'll go ahead and make my comment while you're here, because it'll give you an opportunity to respond to me. I think this is a strong candidate for ECHO funding. However, I am refusing to score this application under protest, that the scoring system gives no mechanism to address issues I believe are glaring deficiencies. For this project, I'm extremely concerned about the security issues associated with this facility. The security of the recently completed Riverfront Park in Daytona Beach has displaced a large number of homeless and vagrant people into this area. I travel by this park frequently, and I have yet to see any children playing on the new playground equipment. The applicant provides no verifiable information on the actual use of the park and playground, only speculative information based on the Pictona facility. As has already been documented, on the day of the ECHO Board tour, 4 men that appeared to be homeless or vagrant were present at the pavilions of the park. On Tuesday, August 25th, just this last Tuesday, I went by the park to reconfirm my perspective. At that time, there was at least one person who appeared to be homeless in the pavilion, and another who appeared to be living out of their car, parked there with a solar panel on the bumper to provide power. I have photos if you want to see them. I can make them available. Given these circumstances, I would already be hesitant to allow my wife or child to go to the playground area of the park, much less add $1 million worth of facilities at taxpayer expense. Despite the overwhelming public interest in this project, without a security component to the application, it appears to me that we are investing $1 million of taxpayer money into what could very well turn into a homeless or vagrant rest area. I would be willing to reconsider my objection if the City of Holly Hill would provide a plan for security of the facility, notably video surveillance, hired security, or regularly scheduled community service officers. Until then, I resist providing funding for this project and encourage my colleagues on the board to join me in standing up for the residents of this county who are providing the funding. Thank you.
Superintendent Slack, Assistant County Attorney, I have to address something you said, Mr. Pettit. Florida Statute 286.012 requires any member of this board who is present to actually vote unless they can articulate a recusal or other voting conflict under the statute. You do not have the ability to refuse to vote. I apologize, but that is the law.
I'll vote no.
Any other questions or comments?
I have a couple comments.
Okay.
So Doug did a good job addressing the security concerns, and so did you. There are definitely some security concerns, especially with the area of the displaced residents that are possibly going to be using it. My other concern is the comparable projects to substantiate the type of project that you're doing. The building materials that are being used, how it's being maintained, is that even a viable option for that area of the Halifax River to sustain the types of damage? Because we've seen, driving up and down that road, how a lot of the privately owned docks are severely damaged for a very long period of time. Sometimes those docks don't get repaired for years, and it's a little unsightly. So it does raise some concerns. I know that there are some measures that are addressed in the packet on the viability and the maintenance and drainage and things like that. However, I didn't see where there was a comparable project on the Halifax River in this area that shows that that actually works. That's where my concern is. In addition to that, there's not any ADA parking available. And I know that we had asked that when we were there. There's not really any capability of providing the ADA parking. If this project does result in the type of tourism that you are hoping for, that's only going to get worse. So what do we do? Like, it's a great ADA compliant dock, and the whole thing is ADA compliant. However, getting to it is now a problem. So that's where my other concern is. And I know that's not within the project scope, but if you're receiving the type of tourism that you're hoping for, that should be a thought process in this. So that's where I am.
Anyone else? I have a question. Is it possible for the city to put cameras that can video what is going on?
Hi, how you doing? I'm Mary Mearsheimer. I'm from the city of Holly Hill. Unbeknownst to me, we have cameras there. I talked to the chief of police, and what happened is he said all of our parks along that area, he says he put cameras in. He's put them recently before I went to the last meeting, but he said they're undercover. So I didn't know we had cameras. So there's always cameras in the park. I asked him about extra patrols. He said, we can put that in, absolutely. I said, what's our background on Sunrise? He says, there's been no arrest, there's been no calls for Sunrise or anything like that for people to go where there's been, problems. So I'm going by that at this time. I also spoke to the city and said, what can we do for the future? And they're like, we're open to absolutely making sure our parks are safe. We'll do anything we need. We start with the cameras, we will do the extra patrols, and we'll check out and see if anything else we can do at this point, and look at that. You mentioned, I believe, what are other cities and stuff doing? We looked into that. The city of Daytona, I believe, has a special person they hire to check out all that area and stuff like that.
Yep.
And we're just discussing right now, again, this is new to us, but we've done the parks, we asked for the extra patrol, we are looking at what other cities are doing. This is something we want for the community, we want to go forward, we're looking at, okay, how do we make this happen? And we took, what you said and said, okay, what can we do? And we're moving forward proactively on all measures.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? No?
Pat Drago,
89.
Gerald Feaser,
85.
Pat Northey,
88.
Jay Pendergast,
96.
Doug Pettit,
0 until documented evidence of the surveillance program can be provided.
Again, Sabrina Slack, Assistant County Attorney. That information is exempt from public records as a security system, so the city of Holly Hill cannot provide that to you. I'm surprised they actually disclosed it here today.
Wow.
I can give you the 119 exemption for security systems.
All right, then, 0.
The score sheet, the lowest score would be a 60.
60.
Tom Laputka,
91.
Leah Washington,
86.
Reggie Satilli,
91.
All right, as of right now, it is an 88.33. All right, so we're moving on to the City of Daytona Beach, the Harvey Avenue Boardwalk Extension and Beach Access Improvement Project. The request is $400,000. This outdoor recreational project will construct a new ADA-compliant public oceanfront boardwalk extending from the existing Breakers Oceanfront Park south toward Harvey Avenue, including pedestrian step access to the beach, lighting, signage, railing, and site restoration.
That's an 89.
I have a question about the CRA funds.
That happened.
It was my understanding that they were supposed to get approval from the council prior to, and that did not happen.
Yeah, let me finish through the rest of the staff, and then I'll answer your question.
I'm next to attach to that. I didn't attach.
So the timeline review for this project, we just wanted to make you aware that this project is contingent on prior completion of the seawall, which is separately funded by the city. They are using CRA for that separate project and is scheduled for September 27. We need to wait for the construction of the seawall is finished. Any seawall delay or seasonal turtle nesting restrictions could push the boardwalk's completion into late 2028. So there is a discrepancy in their own timeline. In addition, we'll also need to make sure that the FDEP and Army Corps of Engineers, prior to construction, this permitting has historically taken a significant amount of time, which may affect the timeline. The comment was resolutions provided in the application state the city match is expected to come from $400,000 in CRA funds and $8,000 in cash. Per the ECHO guidebook, CRA funds must be pre-approved by the council. So as presented, the application and project meet the county council's approved requirements for grant funding. Grant approval also serves as pre-approval for the use of CRA funds. So we will still go through the process of scoring this application today. This will be notated when we bring the grants to county council of the request from the city of Daytona Beach to use CRA funds for match, but it is the council's final determination if they can or cannot use match for this project.
And if they deny that, what does this do to this application?
If the council denies their match, then the application would not go through.
Why would we not require them to get the okay before we went through the process of scoring it? And because that's a problem for me.
Yeah, we did ask the applicant. We were aware when we were doing the review process. I had conversation with them, and they are moving forward with the application as presented.
Seriously. Okay.
So if we approve this, if we wanted to, on the score sheet where it's the budget detail match documentation, I'm just trying to make sure I use the score sheet appropriately to reflect what we are discovering, because this is a new tool for me. Okay, so now I look at the score sheet and I see the match documentation, and you have 10, 8, or 6 points. So that would indicate that the match documentation is pending but not available, and so you would score it at 6. I'm trying to say, what do I do? Do I use Doug's 0? There's not a 0 option. I want to know what I'm supposed to do with this information.
You could score as you'd like. 10, 8, or 6 is what you'll be putting for that category.
Okay, but that's the appropriate place to reflect.
Correct.
That it's pending CRA approval. We have constraints within and I looked at each of these applications, and I looked at the categories, and I was challenged sometimes to reflect my concerns within the score sheet, although I think that this has been an extremely detailed process. And I really want to make sure that I take all due care with public funds, and also making sure that these projects are done well and achieved. So I just want to expressing concerns, not unlike Doug's, but a little different tack.
I scored them low on that one, because that's not what.
Yeah, a lot of what I had reflected in my notes was that the project in its entirety is very contingent on other projects being completed, other projects that neighbor it, as well as just some things that we noted there, the funding, that was a noted issue. I'm just going to go ahead and say that my comments for this, I did score it very low, mainly because there's a lot of discrepancy on the current state of the usage of city funds in Daytona Beach. So that's obviously something that's going to weigh on my mind. I'm sure it weighs on a lot of taxpayers. when they're considering the usage and the matches and what's available. I can't help but notice the fact that the gradient of the neighboring lot is a huge concern. It's going directly onto the proposed project. It was kind of dismissed at the time that we were looking at it, and it's not like it's not going to be an issue, and there's not any timeline on fixing the gradient. What's planned to go there is going to be, it's not going to be a parking lot anymore, we found out. It's going to be a business. There's not a timeline
Know
on,
that.
huh?
I didn't know that.
Didn't they talk about
Yeah,
that?
they
at
talked
the-
about- yeah.
Yeah,
I
they
missed
talked
that.
about it at, it's actually not going to be a public parking lot anymore. So the two ADA parking spots that they mentioned in the application aren't actually going to be
The
there anymore.
ADA piece of it was missing almost entirely.
Right, because the ADA piece, it really is only limited to the boardwalk itself, but
The handle.
accessing it, it's not even a part of the scope of the project. So you can't even get to it if you're in a wheelchair because it's dependent on outlying projects that aren't even
Yeah.
a part of this. So that's, yeah.
I do want to add something just for clarification. On page 20 of their submitted application, the City of Daytona Beach did submit a resolution that stated that if they were not able to get the CRA funds for this project, that the city will bring $400,000 in match to the table. So I just want to make you aware of that.
I'm just concerned about the fact that we're even considering this. I mean, doesn't staff have some responsibility if the requirements aren't being met prior to coming to us? Shouldn't this wait until next year or something to, I mean, I'm just concerned about that.
So staff's role in this, we review the technical applications. We give the applicants feedback on that application on what would meet requirements of the ECHO program. It is up to the applicant whether they take that advice or not and submit that in their final application. The applications you see before you today are the final applications that the applicants chose to submit, whether or not they took staff's technical advice on that. So those evaluations should be scored on the submitted applications
Well,
as presented.
the application lacks a feasibility study. And to me, that's the beginning of the problems with it. And I go to what Leah just talked about, you know, this, and again, this was another one I refused to score under protest. I'll have to revise what I do now and score it low. But the scoring matrix, you know, requests examination of the organizational, functional, financial stability. It would be irresponsible of anyone tasked with providing taxpayer money to the city of Daytona Beach to ignore the ongoing fiscal accountability issues that have been significant news for more than 2 years. The Main Street Community Redevelopment Area, they're part of that. Since the inception of the CIAs, Daytona has spent over $110 million on the Beachside CRA. Daytona's 5 primary CRAs represent roughly $50 million of budgeted funding, including $14 million currently available. And there's dubious evidence that the funding has contributed to improved standards in the community. And as a steward of the Volusia citizens' taxpayer money, I cannot willingly provide more money to a municipality that has so poorly managed the tax money they already have. So, I'm puzzled about why this one even came to us with the number of restrictions and issues still in front of us.
Okay, do we have any questions for the applicant?
Good morning. Shailesh Patel. So let me address a couple of questions. So and then you can correct me if I'm wrong. We were asked to kind of focus on our project. So let me address first question, permitting. So we've received the Army Corps permit. In 30 to 45 days, we will receive the FDEP permit. So the permits will be here probably before you even vote on this or the county votes on it, right? So just wanted to clarify that. Although it was stated that, yes, it is challenging because we deal with 2 agencies, right, federal and state, to get permits. Those of you who are in engineering understand that. The other aspect is the schedule, right? We know we have to build a seawall. The city is, once we get the permit, we'll start the process. We showed you on Breakers Park, the seawall that's being built. We're going to continue that process, right? So what happens is once we build the seawall, any upland work can be done, right? That's because of the turtle nesting issue. So we have to build the seawall first. Once that's built, anything above, which is this boardwalk, can then be initiated. So we put a schedule accordingly that, hey, if we start in this turtle nesting season that ends November through April, that's the period we have to start building the seawall, right? So we're in that process. So I just wanted to clarify that for the timeline, with the assumption of like, hey, if that happens, it might not happen till 2028. So just want you to be aware that we've thought of that process and how we can build the project. In terms of drainage, again, I understand, right? I'm a soil scientist. I'm actually certified soil scientist by profession. So I understand soils. We're engineers, we understand drainage, we understand slopes, we understand soils, we understand all those things. The perception that you have that there's a parking lot and it all drains into this area and it's going to ruin the boardwalk is absolutely false, okay? It's been there all this time with the rock revetment. Whatever development happens in front, which we mentioned, right, has and will be taking care of the drainage issues. Now, when does it get built? We don't know. I'll be honest about that, right? Because that's a city, county, private development. But that section takes care of the drainage. So I don't take care of the drainage in the boardwalk. To assume that because of that slope, that area will get messed up. If it was, we would have seen significant erosion. When you came to the site, all that sand would have been gone. It's there. Sand drains very well. So that perception that there's a very steep slope and it's going to erode and ruin the boardwalk is absolutely, I will tell you, not correct. I understand opinions, but it's not. I'm just telling you as an engineer that designs this project factually that has been thought of. Again, it's a separate project, so I can't talk about it. All right, so hopefully that addresses your question. In terms of ADA, the boardwalk is ADA. We can't provide an ADA access with each component. The boardwalk runs from Harvey Avenue all the way to the band shell. You all know where music happens. There's 13 steps projects, and there's 3 ADA ramps. The one we showed you next to our parcel at Breakers Point is an ADA ramp. So to say that this project has no ADA as it stands, the city can't just keep building ADA in every 50 foot. It's very expensive. For those of you who don't understand the coastal engineering, all these structures are designed to be frangible by law, by requirement, which means they're not designed to stay there permanently. Every storm, major storm that comes, is expected to break these things, and they're supposed to wash away. The county or city is building these for the 3rd time now. So to say you need an ADA access everywhere is a burden, and I think the city is being responsible in that manner. We already have one right next to our project at Breakers Point. Do I really need another one 50 feet away? I don't think so. We don't think so. The city doesn't think so. And the county Harvey Avenue, which I can't again speak about, that is the end piece, which we expressed to you, has an ADA. So, you know, to say this project doesn't have ADA, we disagree, because we can't build it every 50 feet and have a ADA ramp. It's a continuation. We're trying to finish the last piece of the boardwalk. That's what this project is. So I understand everybody's views on it, but here as the consultants to the city, I just want to express those points so that you understand better where the holistic approach that we're taking on the project. And as Dan said, the city wants an opportunity to see what the county council says about the CRA funding, and at that point, the city will go back and try and find the funding, because they want to build this, they want to finish this last piece. And they're working with the county to finish the connection to Harvey Avenue. So hopefully that addresses all your concerns.
I have a question. So most of what we're funding is going to be along private property, right?
No. It's city-owned property. It's city-owned property, and it ends up in the county-owned property.
County owns property. So there's no access to that boardwalk from any of the private, where the parking lot is private property, correct?
No, it's city-owned property that's being leased to a private developer who wants to put something there.
So it's going to be developed for private use
Correct.
all along there. Would it not be better to have as point, when they go to develop that, to have them build the boardwalk as part of their site plan so that it incorporates their business into the boardwalk, since that's what we want, is access to the businesses along there? That's what I hear is the businesses are always crying the blues over there, for a variety of reasons, but it just seems like we're building that first, and then someone can come in, they could change it, they could build around it. I don't know. I don't know whether we're putting the chicken or the egg first there with that.
Well, let me help you kind of maybe, again, look at the more holistic approach. So the boardwalk goes from the band shell all the way to this location. I asked you how many private businesses are behind the boardwalk? All the hotels, all the little food places that are there, all the amusement parks, et cetera, right? So my point being is that the boardwalk is there to be permanent for all users. It just so happens, excuse me, it just so happens that the city is in a position to work with someone to put a restaurant-type facility there that would further benefit a parcel that has been undeveloped for all these years. There's a parking lot, there used to probably be something there 30, 40 years ago. So the point being is that the boardwalk is being built for the people of Volusia County. Doesn't matter which way you come, doesn't matter whether you go to the restaurant or you don't go to the restaurant, you have the ability to come from point A to point B, which is Harvey Avenue to the boardwalk. So I think when you look at all the hotels, all the other little kiosks that are on the boardwalk, those are private businesses. Yeah, are they benefiting? Sure. Do they provide an amenity when you go there and on a hot day and you want a cold drink? Is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I'll let you be the judge. If there's a restaurant, right, you say, hey, they need to build it. They are already building their infrastructure, and they're actually spending more money because they're putting underground vault for stormwater, which is very expensive. It's not a stormwater pond. They don't have an opportunity, right? So they're spending a lot of money to put a facility, a good establishment, but they're taking care of all that drainage from our boardwalk, the rock revetment that you saw, landward is their property. So again, they're taking care of that drainage. We know about that. So that's a minor component from the rock to our boardwalk, right? So there's no need for that drainage concern from our perspective for that reason. But sir, does that address your question about?
Yeah, well, it kind of does.
Okay.
But again, when you use the example on the other side where the hotels are, it's a big, expansive, wide boardwalk. It's huge. It always has been as long as I've been around. I've only been around 60-some years around Daytona. But from what I saw there, and maybe I misunderstood the plans, it's more of just kind of a wide sidewalk coming down through there. It doesn't have the green space or the other amenities that the boardwalk does on the other side. So I kind of looked at it as kind of a glorified sidewalk along the water there so those businesses and people can access it, and they can access the businesses from the back sidewalk instead of having to come down the front sidewalk.
Right.
And I get it, and it probably sure it'd be nice. I just am concerned that we're using taxpayers' dollars to enhance specific businesses, and we've done that over there before, and I'm not so sure it's been successful, but that's just my opinion. Y'all probably have a completely different opinion, but that's just where I have a somewhat of an issue that the boardwalk probably should be constructed at the time that whatever businesses are going in there, they can put it together and make it a little more cohesive. But again, just my opinion.
Understood. Thank you, sir.
Very good.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to say I looked at this, and quite frankly, I've been going to the boardwalk since I was about 3 or 4 years old. I can remember, and I think that there's no question that this area has been challenged as long as I can remember, okay? And I think we are always we collectively have tried to find the right answers. Sometimes we don't even have the right questions, okay? And whether we go before a development or after, how we work with the future development, and I know they have to contain their own stormwater and impervious and all of those kinds of things. I felt that the $400,000, when I put it within the scheme of what we're looking at, I looked at the area, to me, public, private investment in that entire area. I want to do whatever I can personally that would encourage an improvement, an investment, public and/or private, because I believe that that area should be so much better than it is. I think that this could be a step in the right direction. I understand the seawall, I understand the stretch, I understand what goes on behind it and things like that. I think it's a step in the right direction. It's not millions, it is $400,000. I think that we're close to permitting. I think that the city, whether it's the CRA or the city, will be a legitimate partner. And that doesn't mean I don't have concerns about my city governance. But I just felt that this project merited the investment that they're requesting. So that's what I'm coming away from. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I may, I just want to add some clarity to the comments about the CRA funding. This project, as presented and as voted by the committee at the previous meeting, is eligible for ECHO consideration. The CRA funding is contingent upon pre-approval at County Council. So it is eligible for match once approved by County Council. If this project moves forward to Council, that pre-approval will be asked for at the meeting before the grant would be before the Council for award.
Thank you. Any other Leah?
I just want to echo a little bit of what Gerald is saying, because I do see the fact that that area is topographically different than pretty much anywhere else on that boardwalk. That's undeniable. You stand there and you look at it and you understand immediately that it's topographically very different, and it does look like a sidewalk, just a glorified sidewalk that's being put in there. So I do echo the fact and the concern that, are we putting in the sidewalk before we're putting in a business, or should we put in the business before we put in the sidewalk? And that is a legitimate concern for the residents and for the taxpayers' money that is going into this project. So I do want to say that I wholeheartedly understand exactly what you're saying with that.
Anyone else? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Gerald Feaser,
81.
Pat Northey,
72.
Jay Pendergast,
81,
Doug Pettit,
60,
Tom Laputka,
81,
Leah Washington,
70.
Reggie Santilli,
82.
Pat Drago.
88.
All right, right now the project's at 77.83.
And what does it need?
80 is the score that is for recommendation, but we still bring every grant to County Council, no matter the score.
Thank you.
Okay, moving to the Museum of Art and Sciences. This is the Brown Public Site Amenities Project. The ECHO request is $2.5 million. This cultural project will construct the grounds of the C.C. and Hyatt Brown Museum of Art, Science, and History into an accessible public destination anchored by an event lawn, a flexible outdoor venue for performances and community gatherings. The project includes native and preserve-inspired landscaping, scenic walking paths connecting to the Tuscarora Preserve and Educational Center, and flexible gathering spaces for outdoor sculpture, water feature overlooks, and outdoor classrooms. The recommendation to the committee, as presented, the application and project meet the County Council's approved requirements for grant funding.
Do we have someone representing the Brown here? Oh, thank you.
Mayor?
Okay,
I have a question.
Gerald.
When we were leaving the project the other day, and I was kind of riding around, nosing around a little bit, where you're putting this in is a very low spot, it seemed to me.
They're
So
raising it up.
You're going to raise it up. Okay, well, the one thing that I've learned around the country is that whenever we raise something up, we create unintended consequences elsewhere. When you raise that up, what's the prospects of you flooding the buildings or the parking or anything, or your neighbors? Because everything else is low around there too. And this is a big chunk of land that you're going to, I mean, to me, this is a significant style of development, even though it's green space, and impervious. And it's, I'm not arguing with the project. It'd probably be real nice. I question how much it'll be used, but again, I'm no expert on that, and I'm going to leave that to the others. I'm just very concerned about the flooding and possible water issues with it.
Understood. That area has unique challenges. The new building and structure will be raised up to match the current CC and Hyatt Brown Museum. So it'll all be on the same level. It'll match what happened with the building that's there now, which has been a very successful raise, and flooding has been mitigated because of that. We have Zev Cohen working very closely on this project. We also had acquired more property, so we would have more retention ponds and more places for water to go. We added 12 acres to the site recently for that reason alone. I feel very confident in what Zev has done, because this comes up all the time with our board and our steering committee, because we want to be good neighbors.
Good. Thank you.
Any other questions?
You know, when you deal with a project like this, I have to tell you, it's professionally done, professional application. I have a hard time finding, I just want to say to the group and to the staff, I have a hard time finding, I don't want to give hundreds, because that doesn't seem like I'm doing my homework properly.
Always
What?
room for improvement, right?
Thrown out anyway.
Right.
But I have, when I go through and I look at all of the categories, I just want, I mean, this is a compliment to you, and it's a recognition of the value of the project and the way that it's presented. And I don't want to have grade inflation, Doug, but, I just, that's, I'm looking at things. Okay, that's it, I'm done.
Can I say something?
I
too?
do.
I thought of all the applications, it was the best and well done.
Oh, that means so much, because it was a lot of work.
I know, but it showed up in the presentation, what you
Right.
covered everything in
Thank
the,
you.
in the application, so thank you for that.
It was a really great application. Sorry, Doug.
Go, go.
But I just want to make sure, because the comment was made while we were there at the site visit. I really want you guys to think about your differently abled students. If this space is really supposed to be for the students, targeting students, getting students out there to use the space for the schools, really think about how to engage not just your neurotypical students, but your neurodivergent ones, your differently abled ones. Really put some effort in there, because you could draw a lot of attention from programs, schools, after-school programs, places that are really needing a space that is viable and helpful for students that have different needs, as an outdoor space where they can really enjoy themselves. And so I would really encourage you to put that thought in there to enhance that portion.
Noted.
Again, I agree that it was a wonderful presentation, and it's an appealing project. That being said, my position on this board is always to be, and the highest priority I have is representing the taxpayers who are not in this room today, who might be viewing or just don't even know this is going on. And so I resist scoring this project under the process that we just talked about, because it never should have gotten to us, I don't believe. ECHO has a $5 million cap. The Brown has already got $4.1 million worth of ECHO funding. So I think it's specious to presume that this is an eligible application. I would support a $900,000 application, all right, but I can't support an application that takes the total more than $1.5 million over what I understand our cap to be. And a review of the grant application, and I looked everywhere, doesn't give you as an applicant any ability to let us know what ECHO grants you already have. So I think that needs to be something that needs to be added to the applications in the future. And despite the appeal of this, and despite a wonderful job you did, I still resist providing more funding that exceeds the cap that ECHO is supposed to be operating under.
Anyone else? I think this was a very good application. I think the Brown is going to be a huge asset to this county, and it county-wide, even statewide.
Very much so.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, no more questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Could everybody, sorry, when you give your comments, speak directly into the mic? It's not picking up the way it should. Thanks. Pat Northey,
99.
Jay Pendergast,
99.
Doug Pettit,
60.
Tom Laputka,
95?
Leah Washington,
94.
Reggie Santilli,
98.
Pat Drago,
98.
Gerald Feaser.
88.
All right, as it stands, 95.33. All right, moving on to City of Port Orange, Willow Run Park. The request is $2 million. This outdoor recreational project will improve an existing public park with accessible routes and parking, an expanded playground, an accessible bike track, improved courts with LED lighting and added seating, pavilions, landscaping, and a new restroom. The improvements incorporate sustainable design features, including water-efficient drip line irrigation, improved drainage and site circulation, and durable, energy-efficient infrastructure. As presented, the application and project meet the County Council's approved requirements for grant funding.
Does the applicant want to come up forward, please?
Good morning, Teresa Brooks. I'm here to answer any questions that you might have.
Do you have any questions or comments for Teresa?
I have a comment more than a question for Teresa. As we looked at this and I thought of the request of $2 million, and I looked at, to me, this is an adjunct out, and it's a lot of money. I felt, and I don't see where in my score sheet, Daniel, that I get to say, this is a lot of money. I'm not saying it won't be used, okay? But I felt that when I look at a park adjacent to a public school, and right now it's a park, this will certainly make it a much nicer park, no question about it. But there was, I can grade on the score and the things like that, but as I looked at just, this is a lot of money. That was what I felt. Now, and I don't know to where, this is to Daniel, I'm not sure where to reflect that in my score. Does it meet ECHO requirements? Yes. Will it be used by the community? Yes. Does the city of Port Orange have a budget? Yes. I just was challenged within my score sheet, okay, to put a context on that. And this is as much to the committee and to Daniel. That's what I wanted to say. I was challenged within the criteria to reflect my concern. That's it.
Can I?
I second that. I agree.
Okay, can I-
I was having the same issues with that. I looked at it and I'm going, man, for $4 million, this is all they're getting for $4 million? And again, in our score sheet, there was really no way to reflect that because it checked a lot of the boxes, but it was like, yeah, there's a bicycle path there, but it's really not a bicycle path. It's, I guess, a place to go learn how to ride a bicycle or something, or it wasn't a real, wasn't much there. But
So when we were out on the site, I mentioned that there is also a significant investment in infrastructure that the visitors may not immediately see, including drainage, irrigation, electrical, and plumbing improvements. Those investments are important because they help make the park safer, more reliable, and easier for the city to operate over the long term. Now, those numbers that were put in the application are the engineer's estimated cost. And I'm not qualified to question that. But I do know if you don't get reimbursed for what you don't use, and you don't get reimbursed for things that are not on the budget. So if it comes in under budget, we simply won't get the entire amount.
So who won't get it? Will some refund come back to Echo or the
No,
city?
so this is on a reimbursement basis.
Okay.
So we spend the money, and based upon what we spend, Echo reimburses us 50%. If we are under budget, we can't add anything to the project. We just won't get that money reimbursed, and it goes back into the Echo Fund.
Thank you for,
Pat, I want to thank you for introducing the issue that I had with this. And again, this was another one where I originally was going to refuse to score, and now I will just resist agreeing to provide funding to this project under protest that the scoring mechanism provides no method of addressing significant issues like this. The project is an extremely isolated facility that does not appear to provide sufficient ECHO-required countywide benefit, and there is no way on the current scoring matrix to represent that. The feasibility study provided does not present adequate documentation that a $2 million investment meets a distinct unmet need in the area. Furthermore, any representation that the improvements provided by the funding would provide increased use are simply speculative, given the isolated nature of the location. And again, I go to the isolation. There's a school on one side, property with fencing. There's a community on the other side with a wall. So it's you have to go there to get there. And I just don't think it meets the ECHO's countywide benefit or an unmet need. So under those circumstances, I resist providing funding to this project and encourage my colleagues to do the same.
And Susan Lavallo is the Parks and Rec Director, is going to address some of those concerns.
So accessibility, again, good morning. Accessibility, the communities that you're speaking of do have pathways from their community to the park. It's part of how Port Orange looks at development. Willow Run neighborhood is a very established neighborhood with a lot of young people living in it. In addition, this is one of the projects that was outlined when we went to the voters for the $30 million bond, and it passed. So it just speaks to the need and the want of our community, as well as our surrounding residents. We can tell you what we're seeing in Parks and Recreation is destination playgrounds. Parents are going to different playgrounds for the different things that it offers. All of our playgrounds are not looking the same, and this is giving us this opportunity. In addition, this playground was built in the 80s. It does not meet current ADA accessibility for the restrooms. So we're going to make those upgrades so that all people can use this playground. As far as the learning to bike trail, it is a need. I happen to live in this neighborhood, so I see the amount of children that go up and down our sidewalks on the push bikes and things like that. So it is definitely a need of kids to learn how to ride. A lot of the newer neighborhoods don't have sidewalks in them, so they'll bring their kids. Riverwalk Park, people bring their kids down there and their bikes to let them ride around that path because it's a safe place for them to ride their bicycles. So it just gives another opportunity to our community to have that place.
I just want to make a comment. So I want to say that because of the issues that we've experienced in Ormond Beach with the projects that they have and the drainage issues, I did want to commend you on thinking of that.
Thank you.
And I did want to make sure that while I understand this is a larger amount of money, being somebody that has experienced firsthand what those drainage issues do over time on the accessibility, on the actual ability to enjoy the park and its just general existence, it does make it hard. So I do understand how that being built into the project, while it does inflate the initial number and the initial investment, and it does look scary, I get it. As a parent who has gone to some of these destination parks, who has actively sought out destination parks with their own children to experience something new, to experience something out of the norm. I do appreciate, more than you can understand,
Thank you.
the concept and the idea behind this, because it does provide something that is needed, especially in that area, because I have been on committees and in discussions where that area does need outdoor space for children that is productive, that keeps them out of trouble, and that keeps them safe. And I think this meets the need that is addressed in that community. While it might not be directly reflected in the information, I do happen to know from other studies and other committees that that area does need this. So that's my comments on this.
Thank you, Leah. Pat?
I wanted to just add something. You gave me a level of comfort. I'm familiar with estimates on projects and how if they do come in and you don't need it, that reimbursement. That process gave me a level of comfort with it because I have worked with that. And when you underestimate, you're really in a world of hurt. And once you start with drainage and or electrical and infrastructure, we don't know what the market will be. So that does make me feel better. So thank you.
Anyone else?
Right, and let me add to that, Pat, that at the end of the project, if we have $300,000 left, the applicant is not permitted to add to the line item budgets. Okay, what you see in front of you must be constructed. And on the other side of that, if we run out of money before everything is constructed, we must put city funds forward.
Thank you. Anyone else? Roll call vote, please.
Jay Pendergast,
96.
Doug Pettit,
60.
Tom Laputka,
84?
Leah Washington,
98.
Reggie Santilli,
96.
Pat Drago,
92.
Gerald Fieser,
84.
Pat Northey.
97.
All right, as of now, the project is 91.5. All right, moving to Volusia Flagler Family YMCA. This is for their Port Orange Family Playground Project. This outdoor recreational project will construct an artificial turf ADA accessible playground with a shade structure. The request is $100,000. As presented, the application and project meet the County Council's approved requirements for grant funding. And just want to make you aware that this project consists of pre-engineered structure on a previously engineered site. And so that's why the drawings, engineered plans, and installation specifications submitted in place of the custom drawings as referenced in the guidebook.
Is the applicant here? Chris?
Okay, good morning. Teresa Brooks here to offer a little assistance to the YMCA on their project as far as the guidelines and criteria go. So, to Doug's question in reference to the scholarships, last year it was 9% of the people going to the Y are on scholarship, and that compares to the Volusia County 11% of residents are at or below poverty level, according to the 2020-2024 ACS census. In '25, there were 1,492 scholarships issued, and in '26, there are 934 to date.
Any questions for the applicant?
No.
Tom? No?
No?
I was just concerned about the fencing.
Okay, so the fencing, we researched the local and state standards as far as the requirements for fencing on a playground and distance from a pool. There are no specific standards that address the feet. This is 15 feet from the pool surface to the playground. The current estimate quote in the package is for a 6-foot-high fence. I questioned that to the YMCA because myself, even with heels on, I can't reach a 6-foot-high fence to open the gate. So the standard is it only needs to be 4 feet. So we can commit to a minimum of 4 feet, and if there's a way to work it out to where, we can get a higher fence, we will do that.
Leah?
So I just want to express some vast concern on the water safety aspect. And I know that there's not really a whole lot of guidelines, so there's not really a whole lot that you guys can control on that aspect. But I would heavily and highly encourage coordinating with the health department, with organizations like WaterSafe, things that of that nature where you are really taking into an account the problems that present themselves when you have children, where, with all due respect, we always want parents to be watching their children. However, it takes one, and it takes one very active, very clever child, which I have 3 kids of my own, and I am by no means saying that they are able to get out of my reach or realm or anything, but when they're little, they find a way. It doesn't matter if you're the best parent on the planet, they find a way. And we intend for parents to be watching their children. So this is assuming that a parent is in there watching their child, and the child is not finding a way to get over that fence or through that fence. But you also have to take into account the parents that are not watching their children, or the parents that are saying, oh, well, I left them with an older sibling so I could go inside and work out. That's a huge concern for me as somebody that has used the YMCA. A massive concern for me is that parent or guardian or older sibling that is simply using that playground as a daycare area while they go inside. And I'm sorry, I know you're wanting to respond.
Oh, no, that's
but as they're wanting to go inside and work out and do their thing, they're using that as a security to keep their child or their loved one contained without taking into account the security concerns and the safety concerns of the access from that gate to the pool. Because even though we're saying that they can't get out on their own, what if somebody else is opening that gate and they're not aware that that child is unattended? And it's a lot of what ifs. I have vast and major concerns with the location. The location is the biggest problem for me because it should not be right next to a pool. I'm sorry, it really shouldn't. But on the same token, there was a public comment that the accessibility to the public is of concern. And other projects that have been done in other IMCAs, I don't understand how they were able to be done, in all honesty, with all due respect. But the accessibility is still an issue. Public accessibility, making sure that the public is able to get to those parks, the public is able to access them at any point in time, that's not going to happen.
That doesn't happen with many or most of the ECHO facilities. They can't access at any time. There are hours of operation. There is controlled access, like I'm not going to say any particular facility, but if they have a children's area inside that facility that's been ECHO funded, I can't come in a side door and access that as open access. I have to go through the controlled access point, pay whatever fee, and then I can go farther. Now, the playground will only be open during, when the pool is open, and the pool has lifeguards stationed all the way around the pool. And we had a playground on the other far side that dates way back, not quite as far as I date back, but pretty close. And it was the metal playgrounds that used to be installed, and it's no longer working. That's been there for a very long time. It's being taken down, and this one is being put up, and the distance is no closer to the pool than the other playground was to the pool.
Doug?
Yeah, I resist providing funding to this project for the same reasons. That is that I just don't think it meets the public access requirements of ECHO funding. say what you will, I've seen it happen in other places. But I have another issue that's far more philosophical that you're probably not going to be able to address, but I want to state it anyway. I am vehemently opposed to giving YMCA's taxpayer money. These facilities already enjoy favorable status in competition to the commercial health and wellness facilities within the community. Now we are proposing to add on to that favorable status by providing taxpayer funding to assist the facility in enhancing their appeal in competition to our community businesses. This is private business having to compete with government, and it's comparable to the recent situation in the news where government-run grocery stores in New York City are putting mom-and-pop grocery stores out of business. The scoring matrix we have been provided has nowhere to address those concerns. So it's I love playgrounds and kids and things like that, but philosophically, I just cannot provide funding to this project.
Anyone else?
They've been addressed.
I am good. To Doug's point, it seems every grant cycle, we have an application from the YMCA. And I believe that the ECHO funds are viewed as part of the YMCA capital project funding, okay? I said this when we were at the Deltona High School playfield, and I just want to put that on record. I share Leah's concerns about safety and proximity to the pool, and I thought we walked a long way before we got to the pool and/or the playground. I want to be fair in my scoring. I think it's needed. I think that whole city center is heavily used by the public. But I want to register my concerns, and it's been consistent across each grant cycle with YMCA applications. But
So the YMCA.
It's still a nonprofit that serves a large part of the community, and I recognize that, okay?
Yeah. So as the guide is right now, they are an eligible applicant. As a 501c3, they've received 10 ECHO grants over the years and have performed on all of them.
Yes, they have.
So
I just returned your comment. Thank you.
every time somebody's up here defending the same questions. I get it.
So that kind of brings into what Doug had mentioned earlier with the Brown and how it's capped. So is it because the YMCA has different chapters and they're all operating independently, different tax
So the
IDs?
difference is the $5 million cap is on one project, one parcel.
It's per
Okay,
house.
it's not across
Per
all-
cycle, per project.
Not per cycle, but over the life is $5 million in ECHO funds. Am I correct, guys?
Yes, I was just going to read from the guidebook.
Yeah.
So, the CAP supports phased development of larger projects while promoting equitable distribution of funds across the county. A project or facility complex may receive multiple ECHO grants totaling up to $5 million over the life of the program, enabling meaningful long-term reinvestment in successful community assets. Projects or facilities that include a substantial expansion of total square footage resulting in significant additional public use may qualify for an additional $5 million, bringing the maximum award to $10 million. Hence, why the MOAS project qualifies, and the YMCA projects are all separate entities. Ormond, DeLand, Deltona, they fall under a different project cap. So each one of those would be $5 million.
I think my comment, I appreciate the funds and the facilities that the YMCA brings to the table and their effort and their commitment. The same as I appreciate City of Ormond Beach going forward with a bond that they've done annual athletic parks improvement. Port Orange, the same thing. And the Brown brings a tremendous amount of money to the table. And I just want to make sure that we're looking at our taxpayer dollars and that's a concern is, as I said, once again, 501c3, those public-private investments maximize this public investment. I understand that, multiply it. But there you go.
Anyone else? Okay, roll call, please.
Doug Pettit,
60.
Tom Laputka,
83.
Leah Washington,
80.
Reggie Santilli,
85.
Pat Drago,
82.
Gerald Feaser,
76.
Pat Northey,
85.
Jay Pendergast.
74.
All right, as of right now, the project is an even 80. All right, moving on, Marine Discovery Center. This is for their Phase 4 project. This is the Education Center and Dock. The request in front of you today is $1,019,290. This environmental project will construct an open-air environmental education pavilion, which is approximately 3,000 square feet, with an ADA accessible walkway, a new 300-square-foot dock providing direct passenger vessel access to the Indian River Lagoon, and an integrated ADA restrooms at the site's 22 acres. We did notify that the dock construction will require additional permits from FDEP and the Army Corps of Engineers prior to construction, and that this permit has taken significant amount of time, which could affect the project's timeline. As presented, the application and project meet the County Council's approved requirements for grant funding.
The applicant want to come forward?
Hello.
Want to state your name?
Trey Hanno, Director of Programs at Marine Discovery Center.
Doug?
Yeah, I scored you pretty well, and I gave you one hit, actually, on,
Oh, there you go. This is said with love and
Yes,
affection.
yeah. I did give you one hit on your ADA compliance issues in your plan. I said, my comment here was the elements of the ADA compliance were not strong in the application. Now, it's clear from observation of the existing facility that this is an important aspect of the operation. It was just not presented real well, I didn't think, strongly in the application. So I would just, next time, make sure that the ADA is pretty good.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Since I just felt, I was enthusiastic about this application. I felt that it will be very, very heavily used by the public. I felt it was well prepared. I think it's needed. And I just think it's an ideal of the kind of things that we look for within the ECHO grant process.
Yeah, I agree with that. This project has been before us several times for ECHO money, and you've always done what you said you were going to do. The project is beautifully done. The boat ride, I took the boat ride when we had the eclipse several years ago. Yeah, that was great fun. You participate with the county in the Echo Ranger program. Kids, my granddaughter had spent time out there. I mean, if this is about as close to perfect as what I would say for an Echo project. And it's water access. That is really critical, water access.
Well, thank you.
Anyone else? Comments, questions? Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Tom Laputka,
96.
Leah Washington,
96.
Reggie Santilli,
98.
Pat Drago,
98.
Gerald Feaser,
94.
Pat Northey,
95.
Jay Pendergast. Oh, he had to recuse himself from this vote. Doug Pettit,
Despite my curmudgeonly appearance, 98.
As it stands, 96.6. All right, a few more to go here. City of Edgewater, this is for their new boat ramps and amenities project. This outdoor recreational project is a phased construction of a regional waterfront recreation facility, expanding public access to the intercoastal waterway and the Indian River Lagoon in southeast Volusia County. The completed facility will include up to 4 boat ramps, 8 launching lanes, ADA accessible floating docks and gangways, a fishing pier, a boat staging and washdown area, restrooms, and approximately 85 vehicle trailer parking spaces, roadway and utility improvements, security lighting, landscaping, and wayfinding signage. Again, we notated the additional environmental permitting from FDEP and Army Corps of Engineers. And the recommendation is as presented, the application and project meet the County Council's approved requirements for grant funding.
I'll just jump in. I'm sorry that, my teacher used to say, can we hear from anybody but Pat? But I want to say, to me, this is a tremendously rare opportunity to have this parcel of land that sits there vacant on the intercoastal. The city of Edgewater is ready to go forward. It's adjacent to Boston. I did not even see huge mangroves, It's just a tremendous opportunity, and when completed, it will be heavily used. This, to me, once again, is just an opportunity for this kind of investment. And I was enthusiastic. It was hard to get to, and that's even, making it accessible, developing it without ruining the huge natural environments that exist. So I'm just enthusiastic, so there you go.
And Pat, I understand why your teacher said anybody but Pat, because you stole my thunder.
I'm sorry.
Can I say?
Do we have somebody from Edgewater here?
There we go.
We banter this element of legacy project around on this committee a lot. This truly, to me, is a legacy project. And as a former Marine, I really appreciated the tactical truck ride. So I really like this project.
I don't know how many would echo that, but just from.
I am sick, so.
But I do want to say, I have a lot of friends that actually live in Edgewater, and a couple of them are boaters. And when I asked them personally, what are your thoughts on this? They're like, oh my God, are you serious?
We need it.
They were so happy that there was a possibility of something like this being put in there. And the thought that was going into the project plan, design, the sustainability, the access that it would actually give, because I didn't realize that the police department, while that portion of the project is not a part of the ECHO project, I am going to make sure that I do call that out. But the fact that this actually gives them the capability of having a boathouse out there, that gives them the ability to access the waterway, like that to me, I didn't realize that they were waiting in line with everybody else to try to get in the water. That's a little frightening. But while that's not a part of this project, the fact that this project does give them the capacity and the capability to access the waterway in a much safer manner and a much more expedited manner was well appreciated from my point of view and perspective. And the fact that this is a phase 1 project, I'm super excited about that. And to hear that the residents that I know personally, I'm not a boater. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not a boater. But at the same time, to hear residents that are just so wholeheartedly enthusiastic about this coming to their area, about it solving a need that they have identified before I even told them what it was doing or what the scope was, or any sort of information about the parking spots. Their immediate comment was, we have to go all the way down here, and then finding parking after we've actually launched the boat is an absolute nightmare. So anything that to address that would be much appreciated, and to see and hear how this is actually solving a known issue for the area. I just want to say thank you.
I just wanted to say that this is, I second everything you have said. My sons are both boat. Anything we can do to get boats on the water through new boat ramps, so that whether it be your side of the county or the St. Johns River, we need to be doing that. It's important. My youngest son, who actually works at Boston, is very excited about this project and thinks that as a boater, someone who boats, he weekends. He does not go boating on weekends because he said the ramps are impossible to use. But this project and this application was well done. Congratulations. It is a site that is perfect for what you want to do.
I do have one concern. Where some of them I've been kind of, grumpy about the price and thought that was maybe too high for what we were getting. I'm having a hard time seeing how you're going to do all this for $5 million. So good luck.
Take that as a challenge.
It's going to be a challenge.
Good point.
But I'm hats off to you.
Anyone else? Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Leah Washington,
100.
Reggie Santilli,
95.
Pat Drago,
96.
Gerald Feaser,
96.
Pat Norby,
95.
Jay Pendergast,
91,
Doug Pettit,
98,
Tom Laputka.
90.
All right, as of right now, 95.17. All right, Conservation Florida, the D Ranch Preserve and Nature Center is the next application for review. The request is $2.5 million. This environmental project funds the new construction of a two-story environmental education facility at Conservation Florida's 476-acre D Ranch Preserve in southeastern Volusia County, which is just outside the Florida Wildlife Corridor and the Lake Monroe watershed. The facility will feature a covered wraparound porch, interpretive exhibit space, flexible classrooms, public restrooms, offices, and an elevator for full ADA compliance, complemented by an ADA accessible paved walkway to a wetland overlook dock and an accessible picnic area. As presented, the application and project meet the County Council's approved requirements for grant funding.
What do you want me to change on this?
And we have somebody from the public, Davison Harriet. If you want to come up and speak,
That's
please.
to be expected. You can make it work.
Good morning, members. I'm Davison Harriet. I serve on the City of Deltona Commission. Thank you all for the work that you do to preserve our natural environment and expand recreational opportunities across Volusia County. I grew up where I had a chance to spend a lot of time outside, visiting my grandfather in urban South Florida during the summers. Every time we visited, I would spend the days fishing at the local pier, and when we got back, he would always ask how it went. Did I catch anything or meet anyone new? As I got older and my love for the outdoors expanded, he wanted to hear more and more stories about fishing, but mostly about running around the woods, exploring, and the people I met along the way. It's been a common thread throughout my life. D Ranch sits at the southeastern corner of the city of Deltona. It is the gateway to Deltona and Volusia County along State Road 415. It's 4.5 miles from Seminole County's Boomba Sports Complexes and the Orlando Sanford International Airport, right across the St. Johns River. I start with this for reference, and because families pour into the area for sports tournaments. There are inevitably siblings who don't want to be at the fields come Saturday or Sunday and are looking for something to do along the 415 corridor. The perfect visitors for D Ranch in the city of Deltona. In the coming fiscal year, Deltona will be developing a trails master plan to connect Lionia Preserve and Lakeshore Park to the River to Sea Trail and the Lake Monroe Loop. Right past D Ranch. Along the way, it will connect dozens of ball fields and pocket parks encircling the city of Deltona, providing recreational opportunities for neighbors and visitors, the young and the old, making D Ranch an ideal location along the way. When it comes to growth and development along the 415 corridor, D Ranch is perfectly situated as the buffer between conservation lands, the conservation lands of Lake Monroe Wildlife Management Area and Beck Ranch, and to the north, it borders a large residential development slated to be Hickory Lakes, approved by our previous commission. From Hickory Lakes north to Howland Boulevard is 4 miles of commercial mixed-use development outlined in the Osteen Local Plan and joint planning agreement between the City of Deltona and Volusia County. Surrounding D Ranch along the 415 corridor, you have a regional sports complex with 100,000 visitors each year, an urban residential interface with more than 40,000 homes, and an estimated combined population of 120,000 residents in the city of Deltona, Enterprise, and Osteen. This project will introduce an interactive educational component to conservation and recreation in the region, something whose importance can't be overstated. To come back to the beginning and what's most important, and why I'm reading something today rather than speaking off cuff, creating those memories for the next generation to explore the natural environment, enjoy recreational opportunities, meet new people right here in Volusia County, and share those experiences with their grandparents. This is a little more heartfelt to me today than any other day after losing my grandfather just yesterday. So my wife and I have come here today on behalf of the City of Deltona, Mayor and Commission, to express the city's support and that of our neighbors, and ask you to support Conservation Florida in their project at D Ranch. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very good.
Do we have someone representing D Ranch here?
I am.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to see you all again.
Yeah, this is in Deltona, and I was a little surprised when our last meeting when it was said it was pretty far out rural. It isn't. It is a gateway project that as you come into Volusia County, yes, there is St. John's Land across the street, and the county has a park, but I would remind everybody that just as Commissioner Harriot said, you go across that bridge and you are in the area of Sanford, which has all kinds of things going on. It goes further into 415, goes all the way into, I think, Lake Mary. It's where it terminates. So 415 runs from there. It runs all the way up to Daytona. It runs into Daytona. So it is that road itself has a heavy traffic load on it. But the fact that when you put all the nature pieces together at this location, especially the Lake Monroe Loop that is home to 3 different marathon and will be a marathon because it's now Gateway is not Gateway. Sanford is finishing the loop around the lake. That will be there is a run that goes along there, the marathon on Thanksgiving. There'll be other opportunities to tie into that. And I have been to the old building, and I was surprised when you originally thought you could convert that, because it's a nice barn, but it wasn't really what I thought the expectation was. Your application gets to where we need to be to welcome people, and Conservation Florida you bring people in from all over. It isn't just Volusia County that's going to qualify and get business from it. You bring people in from outside the county into Volusia County. I think that's really important. So I thought the application was well done. I'm looking forward to seeing it come out of the ground.
Doug?
On the contrary, I really think that this application needs to go back to the drawing board. I resist providing fund under the application under protest. The application, I feel, is rife with problems and issues that never should have gotten past county staff review for a major grant application. And I'm all for conservation. Please understand. I'm a country boy. I grew up farming and hunting and things like that, so I believe 100% in the conservation of the Florida resources. But I don't think you're there yet with this application. Since Conservation Florida is based outside of Volusia County, the issue of a valid feasibility study is vitally important to provide Volusia County input on the project. That is not a valid feasibility study as far as I'm concerned. I think it's weak, with only percentages indicated and no documentation of the raw numbers of residents involved in the process. There are 6 board minutes provided with the application. These minutes are poor quality and appear more as a summary agenda rather than governing minutes. At no time in any of these minutes did I read any indication of a discussion of the D Ranch project, nor any record of the board approving this application and agreeing to ECHO requirements. There's no indication that the records, there's no indication within the records of the previous $600,000 ECHO award, nor the reason for the rescission. And the issue of the organization being awarded funding, yet not even knowing that your building that you were relying on for the basis of your project was unstable and unable to be used is disturbing and provides no confidence in the leadership of the project. The resumes of the principals associated with the project indicate no experience operating a facility such as this with a major taxpayer grant. And for these reasons, I think you need to go back and redo this and come back forward next year and I would be very happy to provide $2.5 million of funding from ECHO if everything was in order, and I just don't think it is. Thank you.
I have a comment.
I was just going to say, oh, no, go ahead.
Well, I have a comment. Doug brought up things that are not in the scorecard. And on our tour of the ECHO grants, driving from DeBerry back to DeLand during rush hour in rain made me realize why this is more important than anything that we can talk about. I mean, I know that like the rapid growth in the traffic is not part of our scoring or purview here today, but that just made me realize how important it is as a native Floridian to preserve our open spaces and our environment and what we need. And the other thing is I've been on this board for a very long time, and we've always been trying to encourage young not-for-profits to come forward. And I do agree that there are some growing pains, but this is a young not-for-profit, and they're really trying. They're really trying to do something. And I think to penalize them, I mean, last year they did what was right. They thought they could restore that building. I'm an architect. I know about that. Sometimes you can restore things, sometimes you can't. And they went in it rather naively and said, oh yeah, we can do something. All of a sudden, like, oh shoot. So they did the right thing. They said, look, we can't do this. We're going to regroup and come back. And they have. And I think that's very commendable. And I really want to support them going forward because I've also been involved in Atlantic Center for the Arts for over 25 years. And one person with one idea made a huge change in the world. And small organizations can do that. So that's why I think that supporting organizations like this is very important, especially for ECHO. I think this is money very well spent. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Leah?
I want to respectfully slightly disagree. While we do want to encourage small not-for-profits, we want to encourage not-for-profits to apply. Applying for $2.5 million is a lot, especially when you don't have a precedence for being able to support a project of this size. So I do agree with Doug, and he kind of stole my thunder, which is a little rude. I'm just going to put that on record. It's rude. Because I also did not want to score just because there's a lot of information missing. There's a lot of doubt that I have, and I score grants on a daily basis for work. Like, I look at nonprofits that are applying for grants. That I do that as a career. Part of what I see is the sustainability and the viability and the understanding of the locals that are impacted by the project. I fully want to support a conservation program because that is at the core of what I believe in. There is a lot to be done for preserving and conserving. And I do hear a couple of testimonies where there are a couple of people that are saying, yes, this is what we need, but the feasibility study with a larger scope to understand if that's really what taxpayers are wanting for that area, that's part of what we need to see, because it's not just a couple of people with influence that are able to have a voice at the table that's what we're here to avoid, is a couple of people with higher voices to say, yes, we should absolutely fund this with taxpayer money. We need to see more of the taxpayers. We need to hear more from the taxpayers to say, yes, this is what we want to see with the funding. A conservation project, I do think you're on the right track. I don't think we're there yet.
Gerald?
Yeah, this one project here's, I have a lot of issues with it also. And one, like Gerald said, he was an architect and looked at the building. I'm an agricultural production specialist and have done that my whole life. In case y'all don't know what that is, it's a farmer. You know, I looked at your property, I've been by a couple of times. You know, what you want to do with the building, you know, I get that. I mean, I hate tearing down a perfectly good barn, but it is a barn. You want to build this nice facility with everybody can come in and see the little pictures and, I don't know, whatever you're going to have inside this barn. Fine. What I'm concerned with is the other 450 some acres that, what do you got, 480 there or something, 480 acres? And when I drove by, I saw pastures unkempt. I saw anything that if a farmer owned that, his neighbors would hate him. Or would not like him. I looked through your documents. I did not see any type of a management plan for your property. I saw management, what you want to do for the little trails and this, that, and the other. But when I see dog fennels that are high, your stocking rates are minimal on your cattle, I think that I tried to find, well, your goals, and I see conservation, and when you're going from an agricultural land, which is what that was a cow-calf operation, and now you want to make a conservation land. Well, to me, they're one and the same if you manage, but it's all about the management side. Are you going to go out there and mow these pastures? Are you going to increase your stocking rates of cattle to let them harvest it? Are you going to plant hardwood trees? Are you going to create something like a Central Park out there like New York City has that 50 years from now will be beautiful? Because a lot of stuff, you know, today we say, oh, we're going to conserve these natural lands. Well, I hate to tell people, but most of what you see in Volusia County today are not natural lands. They're what's come up from something that hasn't happened in many years. Maybe it was old citrus land. It could have been an old forest that they've logged and never replanted. You know, a lot of places where you see the oak trees growing up, you know, that was harvested whenever those oak trees started growing and there was something there. And so while I commend you for conservation, you know, I love it. I see all that. But what I see, what you're trying to do there is like what comes first, the chicken or the egg? And whoever said it, that I'd forget, but that maybe you're not there yet, and that's my feelings. Your plan is just, I don't get it yet. I see your goal, but I don't see your business plan to get there. And to spend $5 million on a building and still end up with a mess out in the field, taxpayers drive by and see that, they're going to go, I can't believe we spent $5 million out there and we got a bunch for growing a great crop of dog fennels and invasive species out there. I'd hate to guess. I mean, do you have a lot of tropical soda apple out there, or is that under control, or do you even know?
I would love to address this. I will say that as a conservation organization, of course, we have a land management plan. I don't think that that was relevant to this application. This application was solely limited to the construction of a nature center. I would so much welcome and be very grateful for your expertise on the land management of the pastures in particular. The long-term planning for this property is conservation first. The long-term planning is to bring back the pastures into more natural position. We have been burning on site. We have a slew of experts that we have out there with us regularly, and we have a full-time land manager who's working on site. So just please know that the land management side of the house is something that we spend a lot of time and money on and have a very long-term plan to bring that property fully back to life. But your opinion here is very much appreciated and heard, and I would very much look forward to speaking to you about that one-on-one. Have you out there and opine on how we can do better.
Thank you.
Notice of restraint. I want, you know, this is one, I can drive around Volusia County and see site after site after site where I did not have vision, and I would think, oh, nobody's ever going to use that, and now it's a shopping center, et cetera, okay? And I've looked at this, and I've had reservations because I have felt it was isolated, but I think that's the point. All right, I just have to tell myself that based on, as I said, my experience in Volusia County, I will look at a parcel of land that's isolated and then 20 years later it's Tanger Mall. And I want to, so I have scored this. There's a couple of things I've had reservations about, But I'm scoring it on faith, and I'm also scoring it on my own experience in Volusia County. That if we don't have vision, and it takes one or two people with vision to go forward, like Doris Leeper or others, it's just sometimes I'm doing this on faith. That's it.
I support this project. I think it's something that is going to be beneficial to Volusia County. It's surrounded by conservation land, and I really like the educational aspect of it. I think when you teach young people, then they'll be more aware of it, and we need that for the future. Are there any questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Reggie Santilli,
96.
Pat Drago,
91.
Gerald Fieser,
70.
Pat Northey,
98.
Jay Pendergast,
94.
Doug Pettit,
60.
Tom Laputka,
80?
Leah Washington.
60.
Jesus.
All right, 81.83 as of now. All right, last but not least, City of DeBary Community Park splash pad improvements. The request is $125,000. This outdoor recreational project will improve the existing splash pad with a modern dinosaur-themed, fully interactive water play environment configured as a circular zero-entry spray zone for users of all ages and abilities. As presented, the application and project meet the County Council's approved requirements for grant funding.
Do we have the applicant here? Jason? Hi, Jason. And Teresa.
Jason Scheitz, Parks and Recreation Director at the City of DeBary. And then Teresa Brooks, our grant writer.
Okay, do we have any questions or comments? Pat?
Well, I'm going to take a point of personal privilege if it's okay that I talk about Teresa.
Absolutely.
Your retirement.
Oh.
This will be her last grant process.
This grant right here?
Right here. For ECHO, yeah. You're retiring. Vicki Place is taking your position. Vicki, if you don't know Vicki, Vicki is wonderful. But I want to publicly thank you for all that you have done. You have made my life as ECHO, and I go off after this is my last one too, simple to just read your applications because they're always thorough, they're always well done. You'll be missed, I know, by many of us, and you will be missed by many of the cities that you have done work for because it's been excellent. So thank you.
That was so nice, Pat, and not necessary. It's been a pleasure to bring forward 86 ECHO projects.
Wow.
Since ECHO started in 2000. And it's kind of bittersweet, but more sweet than bitter. And I'll miss those that have been here.
Michael, love having you home.
I'm going to like being, retired. So, but thank you.
Okay, do we have any comments or questions? Doug?
So I resist funding this application under protest because the project does not meet the 20-year requirement for ECHO funding, and it cannot be considered a legacy project by any stretch of the imagination. By the city's own admission, both within the application and verbally during our ECHO tour, the life expectancy of this project is more likely only 15 years, falling short of the ECHO 20-year requirement. The existing splash pad that this project is replacing was constructed and opened in only 2012, giving it a 14-year existence. Research into various industry sources, playgroundset.com, mysplashpad.net, different places I looked, indicate that the longevity of a commercial splash pad is generally 15 years, falling short of the 20-year ECHO requirement. So I refuse to provide funding for this application under the image that the scoring system does not allow a mechanism to address this issue, that this project should not have been presented to the board for consideration. And I encourage my colleagues on the board to join me in standing up for the residents of this county providing this funding. Thank you.
So can I comment on that?
Yeah.
What we talked about at the meeting was more from the warranty standpoint. So just like we hit on, after the warranties expired, it's on us to make sure it either lasts or the things that may fail within that time period get replaced, just like we're doing now with our existing splash pad. The current splash pad is functional. It's been up for 14 years. Does that mean we could make it last another 6 years? Potentially. There may be some replacements, within different features of the pump or whatnot, but we can always stretch it. And again, we're required to make it last for 20 years per the grant requirements, so we're not going to have a choice in the matter if something does happen. But, the way we maintain things and keep up with our amenities, there's no doubt in my mind that splash pad is going to last.
I had a concern about the capital replacement, and that is the only place I counted it off a little bit. But I did hear that the city had made a commitment to keep the splash pad operational.
Yep.
It was apparent to me that it's a key amenity for that community, and that it was heavily used, will be heavily used. I looked at the amount of money that was being requested, and I felt that the city of DeBerry would keep the commitment for the capital replacement of parts as needed. So I heard that, Doug, and my notes say parts and replacement may be a challenge, okay? But I did feel that there would keep the splash pad operational for the full 20 years. So that's where I counted it.
So when you record the restricted covenants, which is only 20 years now, some of them are 30 or 40 years, meet ECHO staff. They go out and they monitor, and if anything is not just so, you get one of those little letters from them and a time frame in order to fix it or replace it. So I don't have any concern about it. I'm sure the city of DeBerry doesn't either, because when you sign the restricted covenants, you're committing to keeping it for 20 years.
Yeah, regardless of what happens, and there's been plenty of splash pads, as a lot of you guys know, that have been on this board that have been funded in the past, and they're in the same boat, and they're still all operationals, as far as we know.
Can I ask a question? How many ADA parking spots are out there?
At least 2 in that small parking lot, but I think it's a 10 or 12 space parking lot, and then you have some street parking, and then the post office across the street.
Okay, because that was my only feedback, is the fact that the ADA parking does seem really limited, and getting into the actual location of those ADA spots, I don't know how you're going to get an ADA compliant van squeezed into one of those spots. It's a little narrow. So that's my main feedback, is that because that park does provide an encouragement for ADA accessibility, and it does provide that kind of environment where people with different abilities would be able to enjoy it, I would encourage you guys to look at the ADA compliant spots and try to see if there's some improvements that can be done there, or even making them van accessible, things like that. So that's my main feedback.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I did. I had one comment on the, your auto shut-off.
I knew that was coming. I did some research for you, though.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so I just, again, it's not part of the scope of this project. If ECHO and the budget allows it, we may be able to squeeze something like that in as far as the site amenity portion of the project that we have budgeted. But I did reach out to Orange City, got all the information. Like I told you at the walkthrough, I wasn't aware that technology existed on the automated shutoff side.
It's quite effective.
Yeah, yep, and we have lightning detection at some of our other locations as well. So we're in that process of considering that improvement as well, based on that feedback. So we'll see if it is possible to get it in some form or fashion this year, whether it's on our dime or we're able to use it as part of the project, or definitely, for future budget years.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments? Roll call vote, please.
Pat Drago,
96.
Gerald Feaser,
98.
Pat Northey,
4.
Jay Pendergast,
90.
Doug Pettit,
60.
Tom Laputka.
90?
Could you repeat that?
90?
Thank you. Leah Washington,
90.
So you still got some of that.
Reggie Santilli.
It never leaves you.
It never leaves you, does it?
Okay, thank you.
All right, 91.67. So I do need clarification on one project scoring sheet for the city of Edgewater. Tom, if you
Okay,
could,
Tom.
if you could look at this sheet and just clarify, you announced 90, but we are counting 85 on the score sheet, so we just want to make sure what score you want to go with.
I spoke. That's it. Put 10 in there. That'll give you 90. Yep.
Okay, so 90 for the city of Edgewater for,
Yep.
for Tom, okay. All right, so city of Ormond Beach, 92.17, city of Holly Hill, 88.33, city of Daytona Beach, 77.83, Museum of Art and Sciences, 95.33, city of Port Orange, 91.5, Volusia Flagler YMCA, 80, Marine Discovery Center, 96.6, City of Edgewater, 95.17, Conservation Florida, 81.83, City of DeBerry, 91.67. So all of these applications, 9 of 10 are recommended to County Council, which will be the first week in October, but all 10 will be presented to them for final approval.
Daniel, question?
Yes,
When
sir.
you prepare your report for the county council, can we receive a copy of that prior to the council meeting?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And can I just make a comment? Because I didn't get a chance to tell the city of Ormond Beach earlier, and I feel really bad. And I know that they've already left, but I did want to make sure to comment that I do recognize the need for the safety component of what they're trying to do with those softball fields. That is not something that I am denying. I know my score is really low, but that is not a portion of what I am denying with that project. It's just the other components that kind of weigh in and weighed a little bit more heavily for me. So I wanted to make sure that that was on record. I know that they're not here to see it or hear it, so I feel really bad about that, but I wanted to acknowledge the safety component, and that is an absolute concern for a lot of the residents, so.
Okay.
Business.
Jump into new business here. First item for new business today is we are going to go over the updated DCE plan. All right, so for FY '27, the upcoming year, we have 7 new projects in the plan for $1,632,600. For Hickory Bluff Preserve amenities, $250,000. This includes D&E and construction. This environmental project will design and engineer, then construct an amenities plan at Hickory Bluff Preserve that may include a vault toilet, fitness trail, nature play area, pavilion, trailhead, and interpretive panels, kiosk, and signage. For the Lionia Environmental Center, they're doing an augmented reality system which will improve the exhibits at LEC by adding interactive augmented reality components. This project will provide interactive avatar-guided tour of the exhibit gallery, including visuals and games triggered by the exhibits themselves.
But you understand avatars are not real. Yeah, when we call it an, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the reality
I'll have to go check
system.
it out myself.
Okay. Okay, excuse me.
Riverbend amenities plan, D&E and construction totals $1 million. This environmental project will construct an amenities plan at Riverbend that may include trails, campsites, water access, pavilions, interpretive panels, kiosks, and signage. We're also doing a historic project at Veterans Memorial.
Is a
I'm
question-
sorry.
Okay, on that riverbend, you said that, the way you just said that is, sorry. The way you just said that, it didn't sound like you were real conclusive on what you were going to do there. Do we know exactly what the plan is on Riverbend?
Yeah, Nick Dunham, Resource Stewardship Director. For benefit of the committee, Riverbend Ranch was a recent Volusia Forever acquisition that was just closed on last month. That's why we're asking for it as a new direct county expenditure project for the next budget year. This will allow us to develop the engineering, and design for the amenities that will be on site. We have a conceptual plan that's being developed alongside our management plan. Those amenities will include passive recreational uses such as campsites, pavilions, restrooms, kayak launches, water access, and other amenities and educational components on the preserve.
So this is just the planning for this? It's not the construction of any of those bathrooms or, I mean, I can see that on the planning part, D&E, but on the construction, what are you planning to construct for $800,000?
That is the estimate on the construction of the bathrooms, the pavilions, the campsites, the trailhead areas.
Okay. Thank you.
Nick, where's this located?
This is about as far away as you can get from anything down in the Osteen area. So it's kind of between Edgewater and Deer Ranch Preserve down Osteen Maytown Road.
Okay.
It's 1,300 acres on the St. Johns River.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
All right, Veterans Memorial, we're adding a shade sail there. We'll include a stainless steel shade sail to cover the Veterans Memorial Plaza seating area. And then a walking trail and pavilion will be added at the Health Department to construct a 10-foot wide walking trail using the GeoWeb confinement system with 2 picnic tables and 1 ADA access table as well.
And where is that at?
The Health Department is off of Holson Back Road in Daytona Beach.
Okay, that don't mean anything to me. All right, it's in Daytona then.
It's in Daytona, yes.
It's heavy, it's
Down by
industrial.
parking lot 7 of the racetrack, right?
It's,
Yeah.
it's industrial area.
Yeah, it's in the industrial area, yes. All right, so for FY28, we have 5 new projects as well going into the DCE plan, which total $1,652,817. Robert Strickland Park will convert all ball field lighting to LED. We're also improving and updating the playground with ADA amenities and a new safety surface at Chuck Lennon Park.
Where's that? Where's that?
Long overdue.
Nice. Yeah, still on
Thank you.
Springs. Yep.
Thank you.
We're doing a demonstration garden improvement projects at the Volusia County Fairgrounds, which will improve the functionality and educational and hands-on learning space for that specific gardens. They'll be adding some garden beds, some hydroponic grow towers, cattle panels for vertical growing, and modular raised bed kits to expand planting capacity and demonstrate various gardening methods there at the fairgrounds.
And question, where is that going in out there at? Is it the extension building or is it back, is there in the back to the east of the extension building?
Correct. All right, then we got High Bridge Park expansion, $1 million. This will construct and amenities that may include an observation tower, kayak launch, floating dock, pavilions, boardwalk, shell parking lot, interpretive panels, kiosk, and signage.
Any more boat parking or truck parking or trailer parking there?
There will be additional parking at the southern end of this expansion, but it will be mainly for the kayak because there will be an additional kayak launch down at that area.
All right.
And then at Longleaf Pine Preserve for Phase 2, this project will construct a new access point on the preserve, which include trails and campsites. We have one new request in FY30, which will improve the lights to LED at Chuck Lennon Ballfield Complex. We're doing the same thing in 2031 per PFC Emory Bennett Veterans Memorial Park, which is in Orange City. And then we have Carter Quail Ranch Phase 2, which is the environmental project will design and construct amenities such as trails, water access, campsites, a trailhead with parking, 3 kayak launches, a fishing pier, and alternative panels, kiosk, and signage. And Nick, if you want to add more information to that project.
Yeah, just Carter Quail Ranch was another Volusia Forever acquisition partnership with the state of Florida, Florida Forever program. It was roughly 1,300 acres. It is going to be an expansion of Deep Creek Preserve, raising that preserve to nearly 10,000 acres. The state requires a management plan for management of the property and conceptual recreational use. That plan is being presented to the ARC Council in Tallahassee in December. Once approved, the elements in that plan, which include the things Daniel just lifted off, will be part of this DCE project. So that includes multiple trailheads, specific trailheads such as equestrian trailheads, hiking trailheads, multiple campsites, possible RV-type campsites, primitive campsites, multiple pavilions, and a restroom out there. Plenty of educational kiosks, such as educational walking trails. All that is part of this element. And we also have some primitive cabins included in that management plan.
There's rumor going around that the ATVs are going to be allowed out there. Is that true?
One recreational component in one area, there is an ATV trail proposed. It's on existing roads that are in the area already, but that will still take ARC approval in Tallahassee of the management plan.
Any other questions?
Oh, questions?
While you're talking about that, how is your road experiment going using the whatever that material is?
The GeoWeb confinement?
Yeah, so the test area we've done that on Longleaf Pine Preserve has held up extremely well. Even, I think we're 2 years in, and we are going to be expanding that use. We actually use that same material for some of the improvements at Highbridge Park on the park side at the boat ramp area. So if you've been up there, that was the same material that we used to improve the drainage up there.
I'd make a recommendation that anybody on the ECHO board that wants to get a tour of that, because I took a tour of that other property we're putting that GeoWeb at, to take them out there to show them, because that's a really neat project, a really neat way to.
Didn't we do that once?
The ECHO board?
Yeah.
Oh, did you? Okay.
I
don't
thought we
remember
went.
that.
I thought we went. It must have been just a dream.
We had a video we presented. Yeah.
The video is, yeah.
The GeoWeb, I was recently out at Camp Wekiva. Do they use that GeoWeb there? Because I could have sworn, just taking my daughter to one of the cabins that was in the back, it seemed like I was walking over a portion that was actually exposed. So I'm not sure if they're already using something similar. Or if that's
I
something I'm
can't
aware
answer
of.
to what they used on that site.
Okay. Yeah, I was just going to comment on it because it did seem like there was some erosion on the area that because I tripped gracefully as humanly possible. I tripped on part of it and didn't realize what I was tripping on. And when I looked down, it looked like what you had proposed. So I was like, oh, well, I wonder if that's something that we're kind of planning on the long-term issue.
That's something that will absolutely be watched for maintenance. It's really a light cap of lime rock or other permeable surface that goes on top of it.
Right.
But that is monitored.
Okay.
All right, moving on to the next item of new business. It's your quarterly updates from April to June of '26. So a couple things I want to highlight for the grants and aids projects is that the Seville VIA Historic Seville School restoration is set to be complete. I did send you guys out the ribbon cutting for that project. It is Saturday, October 3rd. And then another announcement to make for this cycle is the fact that the South Causeway Park is also doing a ribbon cutting September 15th at 10 a.m. So those two projects will be complete in this next quarter. Ashton, if you want to pull up the logs. I'll take any questions on the other grants and aids projects on this list. Okay. Moving on to the direct county expenditure projects. We did have one project that got complete. So as you guys did our last meeting in the historic courthouse, I don't know if you guys recognize that the historic courthouse interior preservation project was complete. The historic light fixtures were changed to LED. We plastered the dome, the rotunda, and the stairways were also restored. And then we obviously have the lighting for outside the courthouse as well. Okay. Any other questions on any of the DCE projects?
Just a comment. It's the first time I've been in the courtroom over there like that. All I could think of was To Kill a Mockingbird. The courtroom movie. I just looked around and went, that's a great place for that scene.
Just for future reference, because I won't be here after March, This is like, for old eyes, this is really small and very light. So you might want to increase the font.
Will do.
Amen, bravo. And I got readers on too, so yeah.
Yeah, I'll make sure to make it bigger for you. I was trying to get it on one page.
No, don't.
Do I see that the motocross facility is advancing?
We'll see.
I see reimbursement. Would you please, the grant award, so that now it's got 2.7 has been expended. Is that my understanding? And you have 739 remaining?
Yeah, what's reflected here is how much money we've spent so far on the motocross, which includes the acquisition of the project.
Okay, so that's have we done any design, engineering, et cetera, out of that money as well?
There has been, yes. I will let Brad can answer some questions on the motocross facility.
Hello. Do you have any other questions?
So I guess, no.
So the council has awarded we've selected an operator and it will come to council in the near term.
So it's going to be with contract for a private operator, but it will be public dollars that expended. And so this is acquisition, design engineering. Has there been, and what kind of construction so far today?
None.
None. Okay, thank you.
While you're talking about that, did you ever get the study back on that? Then you weren't you doing some kind of a feasibility study or something on the motocross track or design with somebody?
There was a feasibility study conducted as part of the motocross discussion. That was the first thing that council did, was the feasibility study.
It's done and completed?
Yes, it was yes.
What was their comments on you opening the other lands up for side-by-side and utility vehicles?
They didn't look at that. They looked at a motocross facility as a public-private partnership, and there was a need. They did not look at the other.
I thought that was I thought that was requested, that they were going to review that also. It didn't get in the final draft. Okay.
Do we know why that wasn't a part of the final draft? Because I know that that's been a lot of the public commentary, is the side-by-side tangibility of the project.
Do not.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Move on.
All right, so now's the time when we mean to do election of the chair.
Do we have,
I would like to nominate Patrick as vice chair to advance to the chair.
okay, so we have a nomination for Pat Drago as new chair. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say
I-
aye.
no.
No,
Doug?
Are we doing nominations? Still do nominations?
Sure.
Or just that one? And if he will accept it, I would like to nominate Tom LaPucca to be chair.
I'd like to second it.
And I'm happy with, I'm happy with that also.
Well, I was going to nominate him for vice chair, kind of following the process that we've used in the past.
Right.
Who's a mayor?
In my mic. Thank you. I was going to nominate Tom for vice chair because we've always the vice chair has always generally, I think always moved into the chair position, but you guys
Well, that
can
brings
fight
up
it
a
out.
good point. Like, what is the precedent on putting the new chair in? Is it something that there is an established precedent where we're supposed to be
We've
following
always-
the vice chair, or, okay.
We just
Yeah.
routinely have done that.
Right.
So.
There is no precedent, though.
Okay, so we have two nominations on the floor. So everybody for Pat,
I'm happy to have Tom as chair. I mean, this does not need to be a contested election.
Is Tom happy that Tom is chair?
I want to be perfectly clear.
Sabrina's like assistant county attorney, hold on. There's
I was like, wait a minute.
accept the
on.
nomination.
My nomination was if you will accept it.
There's a motion,
I would if you're.
There's a
Okay.
motion and a second on the floor, so if the motion maker wants to remove the motion, we can do that, or you can proceed and vote on that motion, and then somebody else can make a new motion. But we need to deal with the motion in the second that's currently on the floor for Pat Drago.
I will remove my motion for Pat Drago as chair. Good.
Okay.
Per
So
her.
We have a motion on the floor for Tom to be the next chair. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Okay, Tom is the chair.
Thank you.
Can I move to have Pat as vice chair?
Yes.
Then I so move.
Okay, second, okay.
Oh, Pat's already the vice chair, so we don't need to reappoint her as the vice chair. But thank you.
I'm the
Mr.
chair
Peter.
of vice.
Done. Okay, so Tom is our new chair, and Pat is our continued vice chair.
Continued vice chair. Okay, I'm happy with that. Tom, there's no reason for a contest here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, staff comments. Oh, Tom, you want to take over?
No, I'm good. Staff comments. I get this.
All right, so we talked about the 2 ribbon cuttings that are coming up, but I did want to add, just throw out some numbers, some data for you guys that we did review all of our transition annual reports, and just want to make you aware that we had over 2.3 million visitors to Echo projects that was directed in the reports this year, which also show about 6,900 hours, or I'm sorry, 6,900 volunteers with over 230,000 community service hours. And then we also had 164,211 programming participants in the environmental category, 163,233 in the cultural category, 103,535 for historic, and then 119,286 for programming participants by category across the transition report, which was only for 6 months, by the way, okay? The new annual report that is due to us is in February, mid-February, and that will be for all of 2026, okay? And that's all I have for today.
Okay, advisory comments. We're going to start with Gerald.
This was an interesting process to go through this time, I guess, as we redone it. I think we may have to redress some tweaks in the future going forward. There were several items on here that we grade and get points, but if it's gone through staff and everything seems to be there and the paperwork's in there, I don't know whether should carry as much, like a 25% value as some of the other things, whether it's a really good project or not. I don't know how we address that, but maybe something to think about. Because I really did feel we were somewhat limited in how we could score these things. The other thing, too, I want to think about, and this is something that has just come to me recently, and it was a small project that some folks are wanting to do on the agricultural history here in Volusia County. It's not a big project, but it was something that if we were to try to raise the funds to do it to get Echo, the process that we have to go through with the grant writers, it becomes very expensive for us to try to go after Echo dollars for a very small project that could also be, in my opinion, probably more beneficial educational-wise than some of them that we voted for today. So again, that's something I'm going to hopefully have more information in the future, but it's something to think about if we can make, like a low-tier deal to where you don't have to have 300 pages of documents to get something approved if you're only talking around a $10,000 or $15,000 project. So anyway, that's all I have. Thank you.
Well, Gerald, in the past, I do believe that we voted for Echo funds to go toward a marble sculpture of Mary Bethune that was going to be placed up in D.C.
Yeah.
So I think there is a process for that. Am I correct?
So that was a direct county expenditure. You reviewed, the council made the expenditure, the committee reviewed, as you typically do for a DCE. But I will say, Gerald, I think your point is well taken. We took a smaller tiered grant program to the council with the strategic plan results in February, and it was not accepted.
It was not accepted?
It was not accepted.
Remember that.
That's a huge miss for the community because a lot of, and like Gerald's saying, there's a lot of impact that can be made by smaller organizations, but the application process as it is right now, as it stands, in order to get all of the checks and balances done, to get here, it's too much money that they have to front. And a lot of these organizations can't afford that.
And there's been some comment, we talk about being stewards of the tax dollars, of the taxpayers' dollars, and that's great. But I'm going to tell you, you go into a community, a small community that really struggled, and I'm going to use Lake Helen for an example. When we had to go in and get that money back from Lake Helen, there ain't a lot of people right now in Lake Helen think a whole lot of Echo. And you start doing stuff like that very often, you're going to lose the support of people down the road when it comes to getting, we all think on a grand scale from 50,000 feet on how things should be, but then when you get down there on the ground and you start seeing what it could be or not be, you can create some issues sometimes when you start trying to take money back because they didn't have all the T's crossed and the I's dotted. So that's something to, think about in the future. Again, trying to get this tier. We try to make it bulletproof. I get that. We really want to be good good stewards of the dollars. Sometimes the unintended consequences have far greater repercussions. So with that, I'll turn mine off.
Tom?
No, just I guess it's a new year coming on. Looking forward to the.
Microphone. Microphone.
Oh, it's not. Excuse me. I'm really addressing this group right here, but thank you very much, staff especially. We are prepared in many cases, over prepared. And Doug, excellent. Appreciate you being here. That's it.
Just like Teresa, I'll be retiring from this board, so it's been a pleasure to have served for the 8 years, and I actually think it might have been longer, to get things done. This is a great program, and certainly the citizens of Volusia County have endorsed it higher than when we first presented it. So that, for me, that says we're doing the right things and meeting with the right people. So thank you all for your kindness, and staff, thank you for what you have done. Brad, thank you for everything from your perspective.
I want to say that this process, we do it, we represent the citizens and the taxpayers, and I think it's a very serious and responsibility. I found a lot of this onerous. I have to tell you, I do not need to go through city budgets. If somebody says they've got some of these applications were hundreds of pages long. Okay, hundreds.
700.
Okay, 700
Loss was
for
almost
one,
800.
okay? And I'm not sure that I benefited from all of that, nor do I think that the applicants, I know, and I remember, Brad, that the county council wanted to make sure that everything was detailed. But I can say, as I said, this was onerous. This was onerous on the part of the applicant, and it was onerous as a committee person to read through. And it didn't mean that I don't care about the budget of Edgewater. That's not the point. This was a great deal of detail, and I'm going to trust, Daytona Beach notwithstanding, I'm going to trust that if there's a city municipal applicant, that they will be responsible on the financial end. So I just wanted to say, if we look at this for next cycle, just to think about that, it's a burden for staff, and it's certainly a burden for the committee members and applicants.
Jay? Your turn.
Yeah, well, I don't have a whole lot to say. I've been on the board for a very long time, and I've enjoyed it. The one thing that I have learned more about Volusia County than ever, especially because of our field trips. I mean, I think there's very few people who understand how large our county is and how different it is. And so I've really enjoyed that. And I do believe that the ECHO program is a very strong program. And, I understand when people say that grant applications are difficult, but actually the hand-holding that the staff does for applicants is unmatched in anywhere. I mean, the fact that our staff goes through and really helps them with this, that people that say, oh, this is difficult, well, go to a bank and see how they hold your hand, but apply for an ECHO grant, and you're treated really well by our staff. I think the staff has done a very good job, and I think we have the best staff right now that we've ever had, and I've seen quite a few come and go. but they're doing a really good job. And there's always room for improvement. I mean, going through these, applicants and reading all these different things, that you always want to ask one more question. There's always room for improvement. And I do believe that that will happen in the future. These have evolved. I've watched them evolve over the past 15 years. And these applications are much easier to understand and much easier to respond to now than ever before. So keep up the good work, and I'm going to enjoy doing something else.
Doug?
Well, I made my comments clear, I think, early on, and I want to just say that I would like to see the scoring mechanism opened up to allow us more discretion. And even if that means having a meeting where we are able to talk about these things before we move into scoring them the next meeting, maybe give some time in between, so we're able to put more discretion into the board making decisions about things, rather than, I think, being guided as we are. I do have two things I was going to present as motions. I'm not going to do that today in the interest of time, but I will tell you what they are, and so maybe we can think about it for the next time. And I would say that beginning with the next grant cycle, that all applicants must have a feasibility study accompanying their application to be considered. Municipalities may have a department within the municipality complete it. Nonprofits must provide a feasibility study completed by a third party. Now, when you talk about small organizations, I understand the difficulty, but we're going back to the fact that the feasibility study is the foundation of what you're going to do to build your grant application. I think that's important. The second thing I was going to do was, beginning next grant cycle, applications should include a section clearly stating what previous or current ECHO grants an applicant has been awarded. I looked everywhere. It might be there. I couldn't find them on any of the applications available. So I would like to see those two things, and I will bring those up at the next meeting to maybe present as ongoing. I do say that I think we need to put on the agenda for the next meeting a discussion of the monetary limits on grants, because I understand that's going to the council, and council will be discussing the monetary limits on grants. So I think we need to be able to have that same discussion with our committee if what we're going to do affects there. So, thank you.
Leah?
I just want to say thank you to you two, because I know from a grant review perspective, what you guys do is unbelievably difficult.
Yeah.
And you're trying to make sure that you're staying within the rules and the guidelines and the limitations and following everything to the letter, crossing your T's and dotting your I's and trying to make it as easy as possible for us. And I know sometimes we push back and we say, this doesn't seem right. But it's meant out of love and respect, because I understand how hard it is from your side of the table too. And that's not missed on me. And I want to make sure that I say that, because that is something that, as much as we can disagree up here on how things should be and how something doesn't seem to line up right, and how we're not understanding how something got to our table or got on our side and why did it get this far, because technically we are meeting all of those requirements. You guys are doing everything right, and you are doing as much as you can. And I think going through the application process and going through the grant cycle process, we are able to have like a hindsight is 2020 type of perspective, because this was my first time doing this, and coming in when we're doing the all of these studies and all of these changes and everything, it is very eye-opening on this end of the process than when I started, and trying to give feedback on how we should be making changes. There's a lot that maybe we should tweak. And the scores, in my opinion, regardless of whether or not that opinion matters, there is a lot to be said in the gray area. We can mark things in the black and the white and say that this is exactly what the city and the council and everybody is asking us for, but there is something to be said about that gray space that we need to have some commentary and maybe some working groups on to discuss some things. Maybe there's a possibility of bringing in subject matter experts to make things a little bit more palatable. That is not somebody representing the actual organization that's applying, because looking through some of these financial documents for the cities, that's difficult when that's not your bailiwick. It's really hard to understand sometimes. So maybe we should have somebody to come in and be like, hey, this is something that I noticed, or here's something that maybe we should take a little bit more stock in the next time we're looking at an application from the city. That's just, comments that I have. But thank you.
I'm a longtime member on this advisory committee also. I have to say that the staff and the support we have had in the last couple of years is better than we've ever had. We've made huge changes in the last 2 years, and I thank you. I think this is one of the best programs that Volusia County has. So many organizations and cities have really been able to fund projects through this. So, I look forward to you all carrying on, doing a good job. Motion to adjourn?
Just real quick, next meeting is Thursday, November 12th. And for the ones that are leaving the 3, you guys still have to finish, you got two more meetings, so don't leave us yet, okay? All terms are over March of 27.
Yeah.
So we still got them for a few more meetings, okay?
All right, I feel better.
Okay. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, all right, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Last grant.